Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Oh, man, the halfway mark. That's where we're at, Cubby. You down or what?
Totally down. Down.
Yeah, I'm down too. We're pumped to have you here with us. So welcome to the Wednesday edition of the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. The Wednesday. What were you saying?
I was just going to say it's been kind of a sleepy week. I've been counting your yawns. We're up to 998,000.
It's bad this morning.
Yeah, each one after another after another. It reminds me of when my parents used to chain smoke, just lighting cigarette after cigarette, and it just never ended.
Yeah.
That's how your yawns have been.
Hey, it's been a bad sleep week for me, and suddenly, as soon as I set my ass down here next to Cubby to start, prepping for the program, I'm just pumping out yawns, one after another. And I said to Josh, is there a pill I can take or something? I mean, my God.
I recommended meth.
Yeah, methyl's...
You give that a shot.
The word is meth will keep you awake.
Yeah.
But does it keep you from yawning?
Well, when I'm wide awake, I don't yawn. Because the yawning, I believe, is intended to keep you awake by cooling your brain. I thought I heard as a young person in school, giving you a boost of oxygen.
Okay. Wonderful that you still know that. But I'm telling you, this is bad. I might need a doctor.
It's been a sleepy week.
The amount of yawns that I cranked out in the last, what time is it? 45 minutes. There's got to be something wrong with my respiratory system or something.
I think it's the Timberwolves. It's certainly Wolves related.
They kept me up late the other night. Last night I got no excuse. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I'm hoping I can keep it under control while we're live on the radio.
I sleep a lot less when it's light out later. I mean, the nice thing about winter, when it starts getting dark at 4, by like 6 p.m., I probably could go to bed.
Yeah, that's what I really like about winter.
And that's not the case at all at this point.
No.
And the other real negative for me, when these yawning spasms kick in, when I yawn, Josh, I gleek.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happens to me sometimes.
I want to learn how to gleek so bad, and I've wanted since middle school to have that talent.
The kids that could gleek were so cool.
I've never done it on purpose.
I didn't think they were cool at all. I thought they were really obnoxious and disgusting. But anyway, when I yawn, I gleek. My computer keyboard here looks like an overhead shot of Lake Minnetonka. You see
I'll
what
have
I'm
to
saying?
take a look.
Yeah. My computer keyboard.
Oh, yeah, I see Big Island.
Right. There's Big Island. I spit, and it's just a horrible, disgusting thing.
We used to, there was a bit where one of our dogs would yawn a lot, and then people would ruin the yawn. And I always felt so bad for him because he never looked too happy about it.
Explain this. How do you...
like putting your hand in his mouth.
Oh, Christ.
Like
no.
I never do that to my dogs because I feel like it's very frustrating. Actually, when my dog is struggling to yawn, how they do that sometimes. They just keep trying to open up their jaw, and nothing works. And I will yawn in front of them to try to get them to do it, and sometimes it works.
All this conversation about yawning, people are texting in saying now we're causing them to yawn by talking about it.
Yeah, I just yawned like 2 seconds ago because of that.
They say, and a couple of them have...
You're very empathetic.
A couple of them have said, look, if I'm going to yawn while listening to your program, I want it to come about naturally, not just because of some kind of psychological game.
I wonder if the same thing happens with orgasms if we start talking about that, if there's just some random ones busting all over the place.
That would be disgusting.
I was watching a TV show about a serial killer, and they said that it's a sign if you don't yawn when other people yawn, because, it's supposed to be contagious, that it's a sign that you lack complete, like you were saying, Josh, like you lack complete empathy. So you're more likely to be a serial killer.
Wouldn't that be something if the neighborhood turns on you and beats you into oblivion with broom handles because you didn't yawn when other folks yawned, and they're just going to...
While we were sitting
He's
here...
He's a killer.
There wasn't too much. That was the one interesting yawn fact. I just looked up some yawn facts, and there really wasn't much there other than they said, like you said, Ashley, there are some people that believe that that's the case.
People are telling me my yawning spasms are from the heat, the weather. My body hasn't adjusted to, what did this text message say? My body hasn't adjusted to the humidity and the heat yet. We aren't supposed to be in the 90s this early in the season, and this is the reaction my body is having. Josh recommended maybe I try meth rocks to curb my yawning. The bad news there, according to a listener, is when you smoke meth rocks and then you yawn, your teeth fall out.
Well, yeah, I suppose I didn't even consider that.
Got to be more careful. All right. Speaking of this warm weather, it feels like July already. It does. A lot of folks travel in the summertime, of course. How many of us have done the Airbnb gimmick? Did I say that right? Airbnb?
Yes.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
I've done that multiple times.
Multiple.
Never a once. Well, I don't travel, but I don't think I'd even consider it just because, for no real reason other than I don't travel enough to think about it. But I do have my sister-in-law owns a couple places where she does that.
Oh, yeah?
I've never been disappointed.
Never been disappointed. Your sister-in-law sounds like a high roller.
Well, no, she's doing pretty good for herself, I guess. Not like a high roller, but doing pretty good.
Owns multiple properties that she rents out to suckers?
Yeah, she has 2 extra properties.
That's the life.
And once there's like a big event in town, like the Super Bowl and stuff.
She really rakes them over the coals.
She made a killing.
Yeah.
Because her place is in Minneapolis.
You want to spend the night at my place, huh? $50,000.
Oh, it was crazy. I should have. Well, that's probably a rude question. But she did tell us at one point what she was renting it out for, and it was outrageous.
She rakes all those football nut jobs over the coals.
Any big event like that, they do real well.
Ashley, multiple Airbnb trips. Dana, Airbnb?
Yeah, plenty. I don't like them, though. I find it kind of weird.
I tried it once or twice, and I also found it to be kind of weird.
I'd
much rather stay in a hotel.
Me too.
You never thought it was weird?
No, but I guess I always book, like, the whole place. So there's nobody else there. There's like...
Well, yeah.
Well, because sometimes you can book just a room in somebody's house.
Oh, Jesus. God, no.
I could never... Could you do that as a homeowner or somebody who's renting?
Absolutely not.
I don't even like staying at my friends' places at this point, like if they have a spare bedroom. I'm like, I'll just get a hotel.
I've never heard of that. I didn't know people would Airbnb in that fashion where, hey, can I just stay in your basement for a couple of days?
Yeah, it's so weird.
While the homeowners are in the house?
Yeah.
Hell no.
In your boxers making some cereal while...
That's how you get stabbed to death. That's how you get molested.
I don't know how those people make money because I would never, ever do that.
My parents' best friends did a bed and breakfast way up north, and it was just like that, right? It was their house, and then they had a room that families would rent out, and then they'd make them breakfast and stuff. It was even weird with that being my parents' best friends. It still felt kind of odd to me.
Well, I got to get back to this Airbnb thing, but another side note. Hey, I understand there are certain times when you got to do what you got to do. When times are tough or the chips are down or whatever the cliche might be, I understand sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But one thing I've never understood is people who will answer one of those roommates wanted ads where you split an apartment with a total stranger. Hey, I got this apartment. I need to split the rent with somebody. Any takers? And then a complete stranger will say, well, yeah, I'll live there with you. I could never do that. Again, I understand that sometimes you got to do what you got to do. A buddy of mine went through with that once. He needed a place to stay. Found an ad in the paper where a guy said, look, I got this apartment. I need someone to split the rent with. My buddy agreed, and it turned into a horror movie.
I would worry about that for sure.
It was the guy who rented him the room was a friggin' maniac. Anyway.
Yeah, because you're not... Your luck doesn't have it where it's going to be a lady that's in town for the Swedish bikini team finals and they just need to stay there for a month. That's not going to happen.
No, it's usually going to be someone who's impossible to live with because they've gotten to the point now where they're asking strangers to move in with them.
That's a good point.
Local 34, Jesus said, just give me a hotel. I don't need some sicko watching me shower. That'd be my fear.
Hey, somebody could be doing that at a hotel, too.
Yeah, that's true.
How many stories have we talked about?
Yeah.
It's never at a hotel, though.
At a hotel? I don't know.
I'm sure it's happened, but those stories that we talk about aren't at hotels. And I know those rental places are trying to work on that.
You're much more vulnerable in somebody's private home, for God's sake, I think. We can all agree. You're much more vulnerable in that situation than you are at a hotel.
Anytime I stayed at an Airbnb, I just assume there are cameras in the toilet and the shower.
So did I.
And just deal with it.
So did I.
All right,
Smoke detectors.
Yeah, if they want to see it, they can see it.
I've never cared much.
This person says some people will just rent out their pool to you. I've heard about that.
Pool?
Yeah, that sounds sweet.
Dr. P, our regular doctor, he loves pickleball. And I played pickleball with him a couple times where he rented out rich people's pickleball courts just on their property.
You go over onto their... Wait a minute. Okay, and that doesn't strike me as odd.
The pool thing?
No. The pickleball court thing. You got a court, tennis court. You got a basketball hoop, like a fancy full court. Sure,
sport court thing.
Sport, I can see where renting that out makes sense, and I can see renting it to people or whatever. I can see both sides of it being normal. You're telling me, I've never heard of this before, you're telling me there are people who will rent someone else's pool for a couple hours so you can swim?
Yeah, a lot of times...
That's weird.
What I've heard about it's like parties, like kid parties, things like that, looking for something to do.
I've wanted to do it
Would
so many times.
Would you take your child to someone else's home and get in their pool?
I wouldn't be against it. I think, every pool we've ever been to, we didn't own. Usually you know the homeowner, but...
In this case, you don't know the homeowner.
No.
It's someone saying, yeah, for $200, you can bring a bunch of kids over here and swim in my pool. Again, that sounds like a recipe for being strangled.
What is it? Swimly or Swimply? I can't remember. There's one that's relatively popular.
Okay. The Airbnb thing. Yeah, I went along with it twice. It was not my preferred type of a scene. When I went along with it twice, talked into it by a significant other. Once, I think it was Milwaukee. Yeah. Oh, you want to know the other place I went and stayed in a B&B? How do you say it? Airbnb, Josh?
Where?
Howard Lake.
Get out of town. Well, that'd be something.
I did get out of town. I went to Howard Lake.
Oh, yeah, that's not even around here.
No.
You did go. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about this with Airbnbs? For me, the appeal would be something just like that. I mean, because certain resorts, regular folks own them. They own the unit, and then you rent them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, that's similar. I know you have a resort that's running it and in charge of it, but to me, that's somewhat similar.
The only time I've ever been very, cautious, worried, was when I rented an Airbnb off the Gunflint Trail, and I arrived at night, and so it was just pitch black and nothing but woods around me. I got a little weirded out then because I thought, all right. And it was like a second house.
I get it.
It was a second house of theirs, so they were staying in the main house.
Yeah.
Now, so I knew they were on the property.
They were masturbating while watching you.
I met them the next day, and they seemed chill.
Once.
But yeah, I thought
this
is it. This is it. It's dark out. I'm in the woods.
Like
this
Dana was saying, the two times I Airbnb'd, I assumed I was being watched the entire time. I assumed I was being recorded. The joint in Milwaukee, what freaked me out right away, we walked in, this is kind of nice. It was just a little rambler or whatever, kind of a thing. Not the biggest place in the world. And I'm wandering around, and I walk up to the bookcase. Everything in the bookcase, deeply religious material. And I said, oh, no, this is not the place for me.
Social anxiety, Jesus reminds us, and we did talk about this. You can rent people's yards to walk your dog.
Okay, forget this.
Jesus.
That's come on. Anyway, the reason why I bring up Airbnbs, is this a joke?
No.
It says here Airbnbs aren't just for renting houses anymore. The founder of the company, some character by the name of Brian Chesky, Brian Chesky, announced that they're adding new services. You can also, in the future, maybe it's happening right away now, I don't know. You'll also be able to rent celebrities. So 651-989-9393. Text us. What celebrity would you like to rent, and what do you want to do with them? 651-98. Yes, I said it already. 9393.
I tried to check out their new features last night, and I don't know if everybody else was trying to do the same thing, but I tried my laptop, both cell phones that are in the house, and nothing worked. I couldn't get on it, so I'm irritated.
Let me give you a couple of examples. It says here, initial offerings with this rent a celebrity gimmick going on at Airbnb include a day playing football and eating barbecue with Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
As long as he doesn't bring his family, that would be kind of cool, man.
Speaking of his family, is he trying to pay for his dad's DWIs here? Why
probably,
is he doing
yeah.
this?
Maybe he's got a charity he's benefiting.
Oh, that could be. That's a very good. Or is he a narcissist and just loves people falling all over him?
Oh, I don't see a professional athlete being a narcissist, especially when you consider the people he surrounds himself with.
Maybe it's a charity thing. That's a very good idea. I never would have considered that. Patrick Mahomes, he's as obnoxious and as horrible a person as he is. What he's done to us is unforgivable, Patrick Mahomes, over the last. But with everything he's got going for him, he's signing up to be a rent-a-celebrity? That is so strange to me.
I would just make him play catch with me for hours.
Well, and that's kind of what you do. That and he makes you barbecue.
Oh, I would make him, well, if in fact you can just make him do whatever you want him to do, depending on how much money you spend, I would make him as uncomfortable as possible.
Just be awkward all
Yeah.
day.
Oh, I would try to make him so. Anyway, they also use Megan Thee Stallion as an example. She's a singer.
There's a huge difference between those two, but yeah, she's a singer.
You can spend
She's
the day.
never won a Super Bowl. You're right, Ashley.
That's like an A-lister versus, I don't know, she'd probably be in the Z category.
Oh, really? I thought she
Yeah.
was kind of popular.
So, what celebrity would you like to rent? And that can't be it. You got to tell us more. What celebrity would you like to rent, and what do you want to do with them?
I
Answer
just
that
found
question.
out that Charlie Day, that he golfs sometimes, so I would like to rent Charlie Day and drink and golf with him all day.
That'd be a fun hang.
Which one is he? Who does he? What does he
You
do?
love
the
Charlie
one,
Day.
Yeah,
You're a huge fan.
He's the one
He
that
talks like this.
Yeah, he screams.
Well, give me a
basically.
movie.
Horrible
Something.
Bosses. He was the guy that Jennifer Aniston
Oh
wanted to have
yeah,
sex
I
with.
want to choke that guy. Yeah.
Oh, that would be a dream come true. Or maybe Seth Rogen could smoke weed with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, sure.
Sylvester Stallone would be my answer.
Wow.
I mean, there's plenty of ones I'd be interested in, but
What do you want to do with him?
I just want to hang with them. Just look.
You got to come up with something to do with him.
Maybe get a boxing lesson.
That's a good idea.
That'd be great.
You know.
I'd let Stallone punch me in the face.
Oh, I'd love to beat some meat with them. You know, you know what I'm talking about? Frozen meat somewhere, like you did in
Heck
Rocky IV.
I want to
tell you.
laugh the whole time. I just want them to make me laugh.
I can't friggin' believe this. I mean, this is like, what do they call that?
Cameo?
I'm sorry?
Cameo? Is that what
Yeah,
you're thinking?
yeah.
Cameo, except you get to hang with them. I can't even imagine this. I mean, there's no normal person's going to be able to hang out with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this is going to
No.
be a billionaire that's going to.
Oh, you think it's going to be
Oh, yeah.
way
Oh,
too
without a
much
doubt.
money for the average person?
Absolutely.
100%.
Oh, okay. I should have assumed
folks
that.
like us are never going to be able to do something.
Oh.
I can barely afford an Airbnb, let alone the package
Right?
that includes hanging out with Patrick Mahomes.
All right, I
so
did
The
not.
true.
MVP B&B.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a deal. Rent a damn celebrity. They also mentioned someone here named Sabrina Carpenter. I've never heard of her, but
Oh, she's a pop star. She's very popular right now. She's a very cute little thing.
you friggin' hand over some money, and that friggin' Muppet Patrick Mahomes is on your property.
No, I think you go someplace.
Oh, well, whatever.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah, you go to wherever he is, and he
All
makes you
right.
barbecue, and he gives you some football. Let you play ball with him, you know.
Yeah. Hit him in the friggin' nuts if I get the chance.
Let's go Tanya Harding
You just
on him.
tackle him the whole time.
Oh, I'd like to ruin the Chiefs season. I would. Something like that. That'd be a hell of a way to end up in the papers, right?
You spent $5 million to beat up Patrick Mahomes. As they're leading you away in cuffs, you say it's worth it?
Chiefs.
Mahomes out for season, drunken, over-the-hill Minnesotan to blame. And they got a still photograph of me standing on his nuts.
Coors Light in your hand.
That's a hell of a... Yeah, I never felt comfortable in those Airbnbs. I always assumed 24/7 some guy's whacking it while watching whatever we're doing in the damn thing.
Absolutely. Especially, well, there's one I stayed in New York where it was an apartment that we rented as an Airbnb, and the woman was there, and when we got there, and she gives us a spare key, and she goes, "Yeah, I'll just be down the hall at my boyfriend's place."
Oh.
So it's like, oh, so you're going to be right down the hall, and you have keys to this place at all times.
Oh.
And then you walk around and you see like their family photos and stuff. It's just very kind of unsettling to me.
Yeah, I've never stayed in, I guess, it's always been like their second house or something they've created on their property. I've never stayed in somebody's actual family home.
So you have been watched. You're staying on their property while they're in an adjoining building.
Yeah.
You have been watched.
I do try to like pick people that seem safe. So there's like a category on Airbnb called super hosts, and those people have really good reviews, and they're supposed to, like, I guess, be better people.
Josh had a neighbor that seemed safe back when you were living in Milwaukee. What was his name, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, he went by Jeffrey. He went by the full name.
He went by the full name?
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Oh, that was a sign right there.
I usually pick women, too. No offense to the men out there, but
I've been doing that my whole life.
I'm on a spectrum. I mean, I could whatever you throw.
Either
at me.
way.
Yeah,
I'm not picky.
Josh is
Who am I?
He'll go one way, he'll go the other.
Who am I? What about? So I thought the appeal, kind of Airbnb, aside from the location, was in some cases you get to see how the better half live. Right, you rent a house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't consider that either.
Yeah, you can rent a house with like a pool table, hot tub, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with like a bar in the basement or some video games.
Oh, we always pick just the cheapest joint.
Or they have the cool, unique ones where you can rent like an yurt or a yurt. Is that what it's called?
A yurt?
Yeah.
I always thought like some of those fancy tree houses would be kind of cool.
What
yeah.
Oh, hang on, you got to take
Isn't there a boat here? Like a guy has a pirate ship or something like that on the St. Croix? I thought there was
sounds right.
somebody here that had something.
Can you tell why I'm looking at you?
You don't know what a yurt is?
Yeah.
It's like a tent. It's like a glamping tent, I guess.
Oh, no thanks.
They look pretty cool.
There was a hotel. Or not a hotel, I guess. Maybe a resort would be the better way to put it. In Montana, I think it was. That you can rent covered wagons. Remember I showed you that, Nick?
Yeah.
They were kind of like you said, glamping. Fancy covered wagons. And their wagons are circled around a big campfire. And the place we went called The Verb in Boston, we just got back from, was like a rock and roll themed hotel. And they had tour buses you could stay in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I almost rented one of those wagons when I went to Utah, Josh, but oddly enough, it was cheaper to get something with 4 sturdy walls.
Yeah, so maybe that's the one then. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I was looking kind of for unique experiences like that, and it was cheaper to stay in the actual hotel.
Some of that stuff sounds fun, but a lot of it, I'm not comfortable with it.
There's an Airbnb in Minnesota that's really popular. My wife went there for her bachelor party called Grandpa's Pool House, and it's got a pool inside. Have you seen the movie Boogie Nights?
No.
Yeah, about 15 times.
Yeah, okay, so it's kind of like, it's modeled after something like that 70s decor.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a pool inside. It's got, it's just completely just pimped out. Really, really cool looking place. And it's rented out for like a year. You can't get it, and you got to book like a year in advance.
And
yeah, that place looked really cool, Dana.
What's his name's wife is getting banged in the back room. What's the red-haired actor that came to town recently?
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy's wife is getting banged in the back room there, but
every time.
And he walks in and she goes, "Excuse me, I'm banging some other guy. Do you want to get the hell out of here?" I love Boogie Nights. That's one of my favorite. How the hell have you not seen Boogie Nights?
Oh, is it like about porn or something?
Yes, it's about porn. And Burt Reynolds is in it, for Christ's sake.
I do love Burt Reynolds.
Heather Graham gets naked in it.
All the way
I've seen naked women before. I guess that
But have you seen Heather Graham naked?
I have not.
Oh, you should.
What was that place called again? Grandpa's what?
Grandpa's Pool House. It was a place, this woman, it's a cool story. This woman, her grandpa passed away, and she took over the property and wanted to kind of celebrate that house and turn it into a cool-ass party house, and she did. And it's very popular for, bachelor and bachelorette parties.
There's a motorcycle in one of the
Yes, one of the bedrooms has a motorcycle in it.
I've seen naked women before, he says.
Man, that was kind of a flex.
What happened to
How's that a flex?
What happened to the old cubby?
Well, my point is that's not going to get me to see a movie necessarily.
I miss the old cubby.
I mean, if it was like a neighbor or something like that, but it's like, oh, well, weird, a celebrity nude somewhere?
I missed the. Remember the old cubby? The old cubby ran with me. Ran through the office as fast as we could one day, so we could watch one of our female coworkers eat a banana.
Yeah, again, that's...
And you fast forward now, he says, hey, I've seen naked women before. I don't need to see Heather Graham. And come on, Cubby.
I like the new job.
Come back to me.
What, I just Googled Heather Graham naked. You'd be surprised. There's a bunch of photos on there. Unbelievable.
But when you're 16 and you see it for the first time, I guess that probably hits different.
Hey, I'm not ripping you. I just thought that was funny that's how you're trying to get me to see a movie instead of, it's a great movie.
How about this?
When
Mark
you're
Wahlberg-
27 and you see it for the first time, it's pretty cool, too.
You get to see Mark Wahlberg with the prosthetic penis at the end. Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah.
That's never done anything for anybody. It's just a great movie, and obviously I'm just busting your chops over there, Cubby.
That's I'm a star scene.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
You can look at or not look at whoever you want or not want to. We got to get going, I guess. What a hell of a deal. Randy Shaver will be here a little bit later. A big Wolves game again tonight. God dang it. I don't know if I can handle it.
8:30.
Well, a little better.
Well, yeah, it'll be more like 9. But
Yeah, gosh.
it's slightly better than what we had the other night.
It pisses me off. Why do you do that? Hey,
I
it
don't
starts at 8:30, but it's actually not going to start at 8:30. Screw you.
No.
It's like a Madonna or Guns N' Roses concert. That's when you should get there type of time versus anything else.
If you haven't given us your thoughts, again, we're looking for your thoughts. Our number 651-989-9393. That's where you send your text message with the revelation that Airbnb is going to start renting out celebrities. Text us. Who do you want to rent, and what do you want to do with them? We'd love to hear from you. We'll take a break. We'll come back here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listeners, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ricky Saints is in the house, everybody. NXT North American Champion, baby.
How you feeling right now, man?
I feel great.
Jay Uso. What's going on, man?
A lot of heavy days, but it's okay, man. It's part of the game.
They know who they are, bro. And you know who I am. TJ, can you tell them where to find us?
I mean, why else are we here?
You can always find us No Contest Wrestling. Check us out.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
You want to hear something, Cubby?
Yeah.
Why'd you answer like that?
I'm trying to be sexy. Changing up my image a little bit.
I like it.
It was too vanilla, and now I want to be a sex object, a honey trap.
I like you putting in the effort. Honey trap.
A thirst trap.
I hadn't heard
honey
that.
trap is different. I don't want to be a honey trap.
Okay, now I need to know the definitions here.
Trap.
Thirst trap. I've heard that before. People lust after you.
Yeah, like
You're
where I post a picture and go, oh my God, do I have one extra button unbuttoned? That's so strange.
So then what is a honey trap?
I thought I could tell you from spy novels. It's where I want to get some information out of you because I'm a covert operative, and then I'll bang your brains out in hopes there's some pillow talk and you tell me what's going on in Kiev.
Well, that doesn't sound so bad.
Being a honey trap? Well, you might sleep with some folks that normally you wouldn't want to.
All right, I got to keep going. What is a camel toe?
Now, a camel toe is something... Do you know what a moose knuckle is? It's like that, but for women.
Okay. All right. I dig your new gimmick, trying to be more sexy. If that's possible.
Oh, it's possible.
We were talking about the Airbnb gimmick, right? You go somewhere, you stay in somebody's house, they watch you, they masturbate. It's how I think it plays out 8 times out of 10. What do you think about this, Josh? A text message came in. A listener says, someone showed up my door because they rented my house on Airbnb. Yes, my house was up for rent on Airbnb. No, I didn't put it there.
Oh, I heard of those scams, right? Didn't your buddy wasn't he involved in a rental scam? Or I thought he was the one doing the scamming?
Well, an old high school friend of mine was portraying himself to be a realtor and scam some people out of a pile of money. Yeah, if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But this particular case, to me, I assume this guy was just being pranked by one of his friends. Like one of his friends put his house up on Airbnb just for laughs. But you're saying there's a particular scam where that happens?
Sure, yeah, where there's a house for rent, legitimately, and I just show up as a guy, and maybe I put on a nice shirt or something, like, oh, you're going to love this place, great neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
The school district, it's excellent. I see you have kids.
That's what my friend was doing almost exactly.
Yeah, and then it's just all we need is a deposit, and it's yours.
Right.
It's so terrible.
And I've told you before that although most of us were well aware of what he was doing, he was involved in a number of different shady scams. All of us were well aware of the type of guy he was, but he never talked about it. I feel very lucky because one day he at least hinted at it with me. And he was the nicest guy with his core group of friends. There was no more loyal, wonderful guy. But to everyone else in the world, they were a target. I mean, to him, everyone else outside of his friend group were a target for a scam. That's just how he was wired. So he never talked about it, ever. But one night, he and I were the last two swinging Ds at the bar. Everyone else had left. You know, we didn't see him very often, so it was pretty cool to just hang out, just he and I. And at the end of the night, I said, you want to have one more final? And he said, yeah, you know what, I'm buying. And he opens up his wallet, and he's kind of searching his wallet, and he goes, Jesus, I'm down to my last 50. Looks like I got to run another scam. That was the only time he ever even began to open up about what he was up to, and I thought that was just really a unique moment there.
Barsaw Jesus, who's a good man, said he gave his last $500 as the deposit on a rental house when he was in college. Got to the house, the homeowner said it wasn't for rent.
That sucks. Shady bastards.
This wasn't any type of scam. At least I wouldn't be able to figure out how they perpetrated it. But we rented a house, where we're at now. And when we showed up, we were very confused because things were different than the description, We ended up renting this house. It was perfect. But somehow either we screwed something up or the ad was incorrect. And it just so happened the person was renting out a place. Because we were trying to get directions, and it was completely different than, I think at the time it was on Craigslist or something.
Okay.
So we were kind of wondering if there was some sort of scam going on. But it was a slick character, and we just decided, I guess we'll give it a shot. It worked out for us, but it was kind of a weird deal.
All right, something else we discussed, and then I promise we'll get to the stupid news report. Something else we discussed. Well, it's not a completely different topic than what we've already been discussing. Airbnb is now in the business of renting celebrities. If you got a big enough pile of cash, you can rent a celebrity and hang out with them for the day, whatever. One of the examples they used was Patrick Mahomes, douchebag that he is, quarterback for the obnoxious, horrible Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, you can go to his house and play catch with him, and he'll make you some barbecue and annoy the living hell. So, okay, Airbnb is in the business now of renting celebrities. And we asked our listening audience, What celebrity would you like to rent, and what do you want to do with them? And maybe later on in the show we can get to these answers. 651-989-9393 if you have an answer. What celebrity do you want to rent, and what do you want to do with them? Got this text message, Josh. It says, I want to rent Jay Cutler, former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler, and just tell him stuff that he already knows or does not care about.
I'd love to know what Jay Cutler would have to say.
Yeah. Who knows what his reaction could possibly be to that?
That'd be such a tough decision if you're given the opportunity to hang out with one celebrity. You know, who would you hang out with? There's so many I could think of.
Oh, yeah, I could make you a top 20, easy.
A lot of musicians
within a few minutes, yeah. Porn stars, musicians, athletes, yeah. That would be my deal. Yes, Dana.
I was going to say, I wouldn't want it to be somebody I'm like overly obsessed with because I would just weird them out and I would hate myself for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see you being capable of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd be okay with being a weirdo.
I'd be like Chris Farley in the Chris Farley show, Saturday Night Live bit, where he's interviewing celebrities.
Remember
he's
that?
Super uncomfortable.
Yeah. Remember when he brings up all the things they've done?
He's talking to Paul McCartney. He goes, remember when there was that thing that everyone thought that like you were dead because if you play the record backwards?
Well,
that was a hoax, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Chris, that was a hoax.
Nick and I have had that experience when we met David Coverdale of Whitesnake, where both of us could barely talk.
We embarrassed ourselves. But he didn't care. He's David Coverdale. All right, we're going to go this way for starters. In today's stupid news, and it's a damn shame. This is no way for a man to go. A dude at a petting zoo in South Carolina was killed dead. He got his ass kicked by a damn kangaroo.
Oh, no.
It seems like those things are douchebags.
Yeah, they are.
Australian Jesus has told us some stories. Have you ever seen like with the huge packs of them?
Yes.
Maybe I don't know if it's called a pack, but
yeah, we were
just like hundreds of them
out in Wilmer.
Are you serious?
I couldn't believe it. No,
they're kind of known for that.
On video, sure. I've seen a mass amount of kangaroo cross a golf course once on a video.
Yeah, I think that's the one I saw.
Yeah, they're quick and they appear to be very strong.
They are so strong.
So this poor guy, 52-year-old guy by the name of Eric Slate, got killed dead by a kangaroo. The petting zoo is owned by his brother, Robert Slate. And I think Eric volunteered there or worked there. It says here, Eric checked out from, quote, multiple blunt force injuries. From the sounds of things, Eric liked to he would go right on into the kangaroo pen there at the petting zoo and wrestle with the kangaroos. And by God, wallabies as well. He would hand fight wallabies and kangaroo. But on this particular day, a kangaroo by the name of Jack, come on, have some freaking creativity. A kangaroo by the name of Jack wasn't interested in effing off with this Eric guy. And Jack the kangaroo stomped a mud hole and then walked it dry.
I guess we screwed up. D&D Jesus said, idiots. Kangaroos are from Canada, not Australia. Read a book.
We got to read some damn...
Read a book.
There's no word in here on whether or not any little kids were watching when Jack the kangaroo pop-up power-bombed this dude to death. Jack the kangaroo was not gassed on the spot, like you might assume. It says here that animal inspector-type folks are going to go ahead and visit the petting zoo to try and figure out Jack's fate. It sounds like, again, Robert Slate, the owner of the petting zoo, and like I said, his brother, Eric, was the feller that got killed. It sounds like Robert does not want anything to happen to the kangaroo. He posted a tribute to his brother on that Facebook setup where he said, your memory will live on, your voice will be heard, and Jack, your buddy, the kangaroo, will be fine.
You know, if I got killed by a kangaroo that all it did was go kangaroo, I don't think I'd want you to take out the kangaroo.
No, you did it to yourself.
I mean, yeah, he effed off one too many times wrestling with these kangaroos.
I could probably beat up Captain Kangaroo.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think he could take you.
Yeah.
He's a captain.
Kangaroo panties.
Ah,
It was being asked for.
yeah, Captain Kangaroo was tougher than he appeared to be on television, and a heavy drinker. One of my favorite comedy bits all time, Josh knows this, is when Sam Kinison, back when Sam Kinison was doing stand-up comedy in the late 80s, Sam Kinison talked about, Captain Kangaroo must have been a heavy drinker. He held that job for 50 years. 50, and his wife's at home saying, "You told me you were going to be an actor." And he said, "What do you want?" Of course, I can't do it as good as Sam did. An old pal of mine, God rest his soul, and it's unrelated. He used to like to wrestle with, what did he wrestle with? It's an odd, it's like a flightless bird. What do they call those things?
Ostrich?
No, you're getting there.
Peacock?
No, big, tall.
Emu?
Emu. He used to like to wrestle emus.
What?
Yeah, he
How
had
do you get into that?
He bought an emu, and it lived on his property, and then he'd drink too many beers, and he'd go out in the yard and wrestle the emu.
I could see the appeal.
Yeah. And he'd stay up all night drinking, he and the emu, and then he would go, not the emu, but my friend, he would go to McDonald's and get he and the emu a big pile of egg muffins.
The emu sees him drinking. He's like, all right, here we go again.
Yeah, the emu liked the egg muffins.
If it was like the late 90s and I saw an infomercial for one of those DVDs about emo wrestling, a guy wrestling an emu, I would absolutely buy that for sure. That would be fun to watch.
He was an emu wrestler. Fatal human-animal encounters are rare at petting zoos, it says here.
That's good, but they still happen. Rare, but
you
not
imagine if they were
non-existent.
common?
Yeah.
All right, kids, you're welcome to pet these deadly animals. Odds are only half of you going to make it out.
Thankfully, fatal human-animal encounters are rare at petting zoos, but back in the year 20 and 22, a camel busted loose from its pen at a petting zoo in Tennessee, and it curb-stomped a couple of guys to death.
That's interesting. Camels always seem very chill.
No,
I thought they spit at you and seemed kind of pissed all the time.
they are usually separate because you know how petting zoos sometimes the animals can mingle. The camels are usually off on their own in a certain pen, and they're like, "Hey, don't touch. Make sure you feed with the spoon. Don't go near them don't get too close."
Do you think the isolation of the camels makes them violent? I agree with Dana. I think most camels seem kind of chill except for one. The death metal camel.
Oh, man.
The infamous death metal camel. I don't know if he still exists. Does he still exist, Josh, somewhere?
Let me see. We used to have his album.
I love that one friggin' track. Oh, does he? When it kicks in, he kills it. The death metal camel. Oh. Love that bit. All right. Here's something for you cellular telephone junkies. Says here one of those silly skydivers dropped their iPhone from 14,000 foot, and he later found the damn thing in perfect condition.
I just found it. Yeah. It still works. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a win.
What is that, an Englishman?
It's weird how sometimes, you see people where the phone barely falls. Just it lands a weird way and it's shattered completely and something that doesn't look bad at all.
Yeah, I don't, your guess is as good as mine. Last month, a feller called Casey, from the United Kingdom. Jesus. He jumped out of an airplane at 14,000 foot as part of one of those skydives, don't you know? The sumbitch forgot to close up one of the front pockets on his wingsuit. Oh, sure, the wingsuit. I've seen one of those. It makes you look like the world's largest and brightest colored flying squirrel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those do look kind of cool.
So the dude's telephone fell out of the pocket of his wingsuit pretty much right when he jumped. He didn't notice the phone flying out of his pocket. When he landed, he was all like, where's my phone? He thought maybe he had left it on the airplane. He decided to use something called the Find My Phone app and saw that the damn thing was located about 4 miles from where he had landed summers out in the woods. He went over that way to find it, and the phone was in perfect running condition. It hardly had a mark on it. It seemed to work actually better. He said it actually worked better after its 14,000-foot fall. He said that a button had been stuck on his phone for years, and now that button was unstuck.
So next time my phone isn't working quite right, just drop it from 14,000 feet.
Doesn't this kind of sound like an OtterBox commercial? One of those,
Yes.
one of those cases?
Mm-hmm. As you might imagine, folks who sell iPhones have been openly masturbating to this story because it makes the damn things seem invincible. A couple years ago, some peckerhead dropped his telephone into the ocean. Also an iPhone, whatever that is. He accidentally dumped it into the ocean. 33 days later, he found the phone on the ocean floor, and it still worked perfectly, according to this guy. Another story went around saying that an iPhone still worked fine after it spent 10 months at the bottom of a damn river. What do you make of all that,
What?
Cubby?
That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, lucky day.
Who here has an iPhone?
I do.
All of us.
All of us?
Well, Dana does not. The
I do
rest
not.
of us do.
Oh.
I know my daughter's iPhone is at the bottom of the Apple River somewhere, so if you see it and you don't mind returning it, that'd be kind of cool.
A lot of people's iPhones are at the bottom of the Apple River.
Yeah, that sucks.
The old Apple River, eh?
I've been very lucky, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I've never dropped or broken a phone in any way, cracked a screen, nothing like that. But
yeah, you jinxed yourself. You're screwed now,
I'm
Josh.
sure I did. But there's certain people I know that, I don't know what it is. After you crack the seal the first time, they break phones, it seems, on quite the regular occasion.
I went on a pretty bad run when I was younger, but I've got it together now. Now I have a case.
Shotgun Messiah Jesus wants to know if he dropped some coworkers from 14,000 feet, they'd work better.
Give it a try.
Now you got me thinking about the Apple River days, Cubby.
Oh,
I only went once.
Oh, God, we used to go at least once every summer when
Early
we were
20s.
when we were teenage kids. I mean, when I was 15 years old, I thought there's no way that I could possibly see 35 to 40 topless women in their 50s all in one day. Right?
what you thought.
That's what I thought until I went to the Apple River.
Gosh,
There were
that
two
place.
times in my life, Josh, when I witnessed 35 to 40 topless women in their 50s all in one day. Well, I should say two locations. One of them would be the Apple River.
Sure.
We would always see topless women in their 50s, somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 of them. The other location would be the nude beach at Jamaica's hedonism resort.
Well, you'd expect it there.
Yeah,
I suppose if you know enough about the Apple River, you might.
100%.
I did not know that when I was 15 years old. When everyone said, let's go to the Apple River, I said, what, floating down? I did not know about the topless 50, or not when I was 15, I didn't know.
I wanted to go so bad when I was in high school.
Because of the topless women in
Yeah,
their 50s?
I'd heard rumors that was just a blast, and my folks would never let me go.
My parents would never let me go either, Josh. I didn't go until I was out of the house. And I understand why. That makes sense. My mom always used to say that's how you get a sexually transmitted disease. Go to the Apple River.
From the water?
Yeah.
That's
honestly,
just science.
Honestly, once I got there and saw what it was all about, I'm like, she had a point.
She's right.
I should get tested.
There was a time when it was just the most lawless spot on planet Earth. This is insane. Tire Guy Jesus texted in to say, you guys should have a 93X sponsored Apple River tubing party. Are you kidding me?
Die.
There's no way.
Maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't do that now.
No. I have
Josh in a tube.
Josh with arm floaties.
zero interest in that. Zero. You guys go ahead and host that party. I'm not showing up.
Yeah, I'd love to see the photos and, hear stories, but I'm with you, Nick. I'm not going.
All right.
I don't know if it's the same, but yeah, that was back in the day. No rules applied back then.
No. And we loved it.
And I heard even when I went, it was tame compared to how it used to be.
In the 80s, it was a porn shoot. It was a porn shoot with domestic beer and bad weed. Here we go. A young kid in his 20s hopped on over to that godless, soulless, evil social media to ask advice from total strangers. He did. You want in on this? You want to try and help this prick out, Josh?
I like to help if I can.
Yeah. This kid, went with the old gimmick, jumped up on social media to ask advice from total strangers. And here's what the dude said now. Let's call him Donnie, because if I don't give him a name, it'll be confusing. Donnie says his roommate stole a piece of cake that Donnie had baked. His roommate stole it right out of Donnie's refrigerator.
That's bogus.
That ain't right. Donnie bakes a cake, puts it in the fridge. His roommate takes it and eats it. And then the roommate had a bad allergic reaction to the cake.
You're going to die.
You sounded like a cartoon character.
Yeah, you did. Like you're petting a hairless cat.
As you sit there holding the EpiPen that they can't reach for.
The roommate had a bad allergic reaction to eating the cake that did not belong to him. He had to up and call 911. Paramedics stabbed the roommate with one of those aforementioned EpiPens, and he recovered. Apparently, the roommate had a peanut allergy and didn't realize that the cake had peanut butters up in it. But here's the effing problem for our guy, Donnie. Donnie says the roommate who stole the cake is now asking him to pay his medical bills because he, quote, poisoned me.
Hell no.
What is this, roommate cracked?
You stole something that wasn't yours and you paid the consequences.
Right. That's a punk move. You stole something that didn't belong to you. If that's something that you stole ends up biting you in the ass somehow, you've got no room to bitch. Don't be effing stupid.
Also, if you have a serious peanut allergy, I wouldn't just be willy-nilly eating other people's food.
I agree. You'd be a little more careful.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know.
I know of, I don't know anybody personally my age, but a friend of mine's kid has that, and they are so careful with absolutely everything.
Yeah, you have to be, because peanuts can kill some people. So anyways, most of the social media dorks are telling Donnie he should not feel responsible for his clown penis roommate who stole cake that didn't belong to him. Donnie told everyone that he and his roommate had a rule in place where they didn't share food. They had separate refrigerators. The roommate had gone into Donnie's refrigerator to take the cake. Never offered to him in the first place. Donnie says, though, things now between he and his roommate, they've become awkward.
Yeah.
The two of them have
would be awkward.
And here's what's even worse. The two of them have mutual friends, Josh, and some of those mutual friends are telling Don that he should at least contribute something to the medical expenses. What the hell is wrong with those people?
No.
This is not Donnie's problem. Now, eventually, Donnie posted an update on this nonsense and said he ain't paying dick.
Good.
And he's moving out.
Yeah, then you can have your own fridge. Or no, but you don't have to be worried about somebody going into your fridge.
Personal responsibility does not exist for some people. It just is not top of mind. I don't know if they were never taught it, but it seems like something you should just kind of know.
Yep.
Yeah, I would consider myself the idiot in that situation if I did what he did.
If you're a reasonable, mature human being, absolutely, you would own it and say, my damn, yeah. I'm a moron. I shouldn't have done that. This is my fault. But nowadays, well, you shouldn't have left that cake in the fridge.
I probably would have felt so bad that I would have bought him a replacement cake.
It's friggin' pathetic.
Except it's the complete other way around.
And like Ashley said, who the hell with a serious food allergy just randomly jams food into their mouths? And also, who with a serious food allergy doesn't have their own damn EpiPen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
The paramedics had to show up. Where's the EpiPen? I don't know.
This person says, personal responsibility does not exist in this dojo.
No, it does not.
Neither does fear. This person says, it's like those stories of home invaders getting injured in someone else's house and suing for damages.
Oh,
exactly.
Right.
I'll never understand. Or the people that just decide, this is my house now, and it's impossible to get them out of your house. They have some legal protections.
It makes no sense to me, and no matter how many times somebody explains it to me, I won't understand.
You're right, Josh. There are people they cannot. It's impossible for them to take any responsibility for any shortcoming in their life. Always, 100%, someone else's fault, and it's disgusting. Okay, before we go. Man, the Nazis really bombed the piss out of England back in World War II, didn't they, Josh?
It's crazy. They still find all this ordnance. Like somebody's deciding, I'm going to plant some azaleas, and all of a sudden there's a bomb.
Even to this day, 80-some years later, some English jagoff finds a damn unexploded bomb in town or on his property every couple of weeks.
I would tiptoe everywhere I went over there.
Yeah. Here's the latest. A day or two ago, an Englishman by the name of Ross Miller, he was out mowing his lawn, or his garden, as those morons call it. He was mowing his yard. He tripped over a 1940s bomb casing like he was effing Joe Dirt. A 25-pounder, by God. Now, the previous homeowners, where Ross is living there in England, the previous homeowners told him there's something metallic buried in the yard, but they thought it was part of the water supply, whatever that means. Well, okay, Ross is mowing. He spotted a percussion cap looking like a bullet punching through the grass. He saw a date on the friggin' thing. It said 1900 plus 40. He called the cops. The cops said, get the hell out of there as fast as you can. The bomb squad rolls up on the property. They get the bomb-sniffing dogs, the whole works. And after those folks effed off for a while, they determined it was all good in his neighborhood. Yes, it was an old-as-balls bomb from 1940, but it was unable to do any damage at this point. The bomb squad pulled the bomb up out of the ground and gave it to Ross as a souvenir. Ross says he's going to shine it up real nice. He's going to turn that sumbitch sideways and use the old bomb as a cooler for his terrible, undrinkable English beer.
That's cool. Pardon the pun. I didn't mean that. Yeah, that'd be awesome to have something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably try to sell it to a museum or something.
I'd try to make it into a bomb again.
Let's get this baby working.
How do I get this thing ticking again? I got folks to kill. That's what I would do with it.
With my World War II bomb.
Yeah, you guys want to make furniture out of it. I want to do some damage with this.
Some guy in a bar fight pulls out a knife. He pulled a World War II bomb.
A 25-pound World War II bomb.
That's right. Just put that in the trunk of my car.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Gilgeous-Alexander taking his time. High screen, Hartenstein. Shot clock is down to 6. Gilgeous-Alexander on target. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander meeting the moment.
That's a douche move.
That he met the moment?
Douche move right there by Brad Gillis Alexander. What the hell is his name? Shane? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Brad Gillis, for Christ's sake.
I love Brad Gillis.
I know you love. You guys are friends on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're connected. It means more to me than it does to him.
Remember the story about how I met Brad Gillis and ignored him because I was in a terrible mood?
Dude, why? Why, Nick?
I hate myself to this day. I hate myself. I was really pissed off. 1998, 7. And I had to do a bar gig. I needed an attitude adjustment in a big way. I was introducing Night Ranger at a bar. Night Ranger. Unbelievable. Great band.
Legendary.
Love Night Ranger. Legendary band. But this bar gig was scheduled on the night of a bachelor party. And I was 7 years old. And bachelor parties were so much fun back in those days. And so I was just pissed all week that my bachelor party experience was going to be interrupted. Even though it was introducing Night Ranger. That's all I had to do was get up on a stage and say, ladies and gentlemen. But it ruined my whole night. So I showed up half drunk and pissed. And I'm at the bar, and some gal that I knew at the time says, hey, you ever met Brad Gillis from Night Ranger? And Brad Gillis is like, hey, man, nice to meet you. And I said, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I walked away, and I went and introduced him, and I ran out of there. And then 2 days later, I said, oh, my God, what have I done?
And he seems like such a nice guy, too.
He is a nice guy.
Yeah, what if you hurt his feelings?
I probably did. If honest to God, or your name is Ashley, I can remember the look on his face, and I think it was clear that I did hurt his feelings. I remember the way he looked at me when I said, yeah, and I walked away with my beer.
Oh, man.
I was in such a bitchy mood, I didn't even want to meet Brad Gillis, for Christ's sake. I'm different now.
You've changed, yeah. You would never treat him that way.
Okay, so Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he had a big shot last night for the Thunder in that Thunder Nugget series. We'll tell you all about the basketball and the hockey playoffs. Of course, a big night for the Timberwolves tonight. Trying to let's close these pricks out while we have the chance.
Yeah.
Let's close these bastards out before that friggin' Curry guy heals his nuts or whatever's bothering him. Don't do this to me. Don't make it go 6-7 games. Please don't.
And especially because the next game won't be until Sunday. I don't want to wait that long. Let's just get this, because that gives Curry more time to heal. Let's just stomp on their necks.
I'm done with this. The Twins play a doubleheader today in Baltimore because last night was rained out. Real quick, you know how a minute or two we were talking about emus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Emus. One of our listeners was driving their 85 Camaro in North Dakota years ago.
Bruh.
And they bashed into an emu and killed it dead.
They're just running around North Dakota?
Yeah, good point. I skipped right over that.
He says the emu had escaped from an emu farm.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I bet that did damage.
It did. 5:30 in the morning. The guy's just like, oh, God, another day. Ah! And he slams into an emu.
I think there was an emu farm not too far from us at one point. It's not that anymore. I think it's like an apartment building.
There were feathers stuck in his headlights for years. God, he hit an emu. All right, we got to take a break. Josh's news is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum. He knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality? The nicest way anybody's ever put it. You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
She was getting out of her car after parking, and he came flying by and almost, skimmed her. So she said, slow down. And he came right back around and just started wailing on him.
Some folks learn from their mistakes.
Okay.
But the man dubbed Tesla road rage guy on social media is not one of those folks. The 39-year-old Californian, previously paroled after a prolific career as a pipe-wielding moron, he was a Tesla-tempered terror, if you may remember. He decided to take his talents and tantrums to tropical territory. Nathaniel Rademacher was traded the 405 for the 808 and is now road raging in Hawaii. You guys heard of Tesla road rage guy?
Absolutely not.
Well, we have mentioned him before in the news. He is very volatile. And at times it seems like he's looking for trouble on the road to take out his aggression. Most well known for using a pipe to beat a car in California.
And folks seem to continue catching him on video?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times.
And you said now he's moved to Hawaii?
Now he's in Hawaii.
Okay.
After getting out of jail for being Tesla road rage guy.
Okay.
A week ago, he was reportedly back to what he's known for, speeding, screaming, and striking. According to police, he was racing around Honolulu when he decided to engage in a little drive-by diplomacy with an 18-year-old girl and her mom. They were parked while the teen was learning to parallel park. The daughter dared to say, slow down, reasonable request, unless you're Rademacher. He made a U-turn and demanded she repeat herself. Say that again, he said. But before she could say anything, he reached into the car and punched her in the face while her baby was sleeping in the back seat.
Her baby?
Naturally, the girl's mother intervened with an iced McDonald's coffee as a weapon, but the caffeine wasn't enough to calm the commotion.
What's an 18-year-old kid doing with a baby?
I don't even know how that happened.
Right.
Rademacher then stormed across the street, and in her words, he hit her with a Superman punch knocking her to the ground before jumping back in his car and speeding off. It's not his first violent outburst, obviously.
So this isn't all a made-up bit?
The Tesla road rage man?
Yeah.
I've seen the videos.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't mean it's legit, but he did go to jail for it.
Okay.
So hopefully he is guilty, if that's the case.
Let me ask you a question. If this is all legit, does his penis not work anymore?
I don't think it does.
Okay.
And I don't think it ever has.
That's it. Yep.
Is that? I think that's a fair guess as to what's got this guy lashing out at everybody.
So it's not his first violent outburst or even his 10th. Less than a year ago, he was released from prison after attacking at least 8 people with a metal pipe during a bizarre series of rage incidents in Southern California.
Pipe? I mean, he's looking to kill people.
He would go after the cars.
Oh, the cars. Oh.
His Tesla-fueled tantrums were all caught on camera, earning him the viral infamy as Tesla Road Rage Guy.
Well,
to be clear, he drives a Tesla. He's not taking it out on Teslas.
His current situation is he's on the run after beating up this 18-year-old, or they found him?
They know where he's at.
They know where he's at.
He's going to be in some trouble again. A 17-year-old driver unintentionally turned her SUV into a temporary aircraft, then back into a car before nearly converting it into a boat when her 2008 Jeep took flight off a scenic Long Island pier, which doubled as an accidental launch pad. The wild moment, caught on camera about 6:42 p.m., shows her blasting through a guardrail before crashing down onto a floating dock below, miraculously landing right side up, just inches from plunging into the water. The front bumper was ripped clean off, and the SUV came to a rest when one of the tires dangling dangerously over the edge, its rear tilted skyward like a seesaw. Police called the teen inexperienced, but said she was incredibly lucky the outcome wasn't much worse. Local firefighters rushed to the scene and pulled her from the wreck. Amazingly, she walked away with only minor injuries. You can see this on 93x.com.
You see the whole schmear.
No, you just see the car. Unfortunately, at least I didn't see any video.
Yeah, no, it was just the video of her making it to the dock, and that's very anticlimactic.
I bet her folks are pumped.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh, my dad would beat my ass.
A 26-year-old Florida man was caught sneaking into his ex-girlfriend's bed after crawling through her doggy door in the middle of the night.
That's impressive. It's slender.
It was a large dog door, they said.
He must be somewhat fit, though.
Yeah, that's humbling.
Yeah.
Then he made the same ridiculous exit after she woke up and elbowed him in his stupid face. According to authorities, the woman woke up Sunday, May 4th, to find her ex, Kaylin Ross, lying beside her. When she told him to leave, he didn't want to. He grabbed her wrist and threw her onto the bed, but she fought back, landing a sharp elbow to his nose, which was enough to send him scrambling. He fled away in the way he came in, through the dog door. Police arrived but couldn't locate Ross right away. His car, however, was parked outside the home. Later, he returned to retrieve it, which wasn't the smartest getaway plan because cops were there waiting. He was arrested and is now facing assault charges.
Terrifying.
He really likes her.
Yeah, he's in love.
He is. He's
It's not reciprocated, however.
The thought of him trying to escape through the doggy door.
Once you're inside, couldn't you just unlock the door and go out it normally?
Nope, not this guy.
He wasn't
I love that he just crawled into bed and cuddles. Hey, babe.
It's
me.
Look
That
who's
would
here.
take me a minute.
A 37-year-old masshole was sentenced to prison for shooting a cook over a sandwich dispute. The incident occurred December 2022 at the Unicorn Bar at 8:45 p.m. When police arrived, officers found a 39-year-old cook had been shot several times. Security footage showed the suspect, 37-year-old John Brown of Springfield, Massachusetts, sitting at the bar talking with the cook and later receiving a sandwich from him. A verbal interaction started when Brown saw bacon on his sandwich. He didn't want bacon. Words were exchanged, then fists. When the bacon brawl was broken up, Brown barked at the cook that was at the bar, and when he left, he was going to return and kill him. And kill him he tried. About 30 to 40 minutes later, the bacon beatdown got bloody. Brown returned and blasted 4 new holes into the cook.
Brown was captured on surveillance video shooting 39-year-old Benito Agron, who was the cook at the bar.
A week later, Brown was escorted into court by his dad. During his trial, a jury found him guilty of armed assault with intent to murder and sentenced him to 18 to 20 years.
That's a troubled dude right there. Escorted into court with his dad.
Yeah, his dad brought him in. Chicago area police are on a high-stakes hunt for a woman who distributed THC-laced candy to kids in a park on Mother's Day, no less.
Ah.
The incident happened about 3:30 p.m. According to the Wheeling Police Department, 4 kids began feeling fatigued and sluggish after snacking on the suspicious sweets. One child was even hospitalized and tested positive for THC, the psychoactive component in cannabis that makes it cool. Unless you're giving it to kids, which then it's not cool at all. In fact, it's criminal. During a search of the park, investigators found the culprit confection, THC-laced chocolate called Mojo the Milk Chocolate.
Oh.
The suspect was not so nicely described as a heavy-set 50 to 60-year-old woman.
Police believe they were given a product called Mojo THC Milk Chocolate. The woman is described as having a blue cross tattoo on her shoulder and was wearing a blue and white leather jacket.
So she doesn't have any kids, this lady. She just shows up at the park and leaves these treats around knowing that children are going to eat them, and then she can sit back and watch them wander around stoned.
Yeah, she didn't at least bring any kids with her. Don't know if she's a mom or not, but... yeah, I guess so. I mean, maybe it's possible she didn't realize it. They said that the Mojo, the milk chocolate, did look like regular treats. So it's possible she didn't know.
Well, there you go.
The National Institute of Health says exposure to THC in children can cause severe hyperactive behavior, slowed breathing, and even coma. And according to the University of Illinois, Chicago, the effects of marijuana can last 24 to 36 hours in children.
Wow. I had no idea.
Getting some bang for their buck there.
Yeah, kind of jealous.
A man caught secretly filming a 27-year-old mom breastfeeding her baby on a bus.
Oh, God.
Had a bizarre defense when confronted by angry passengers. F off. I'm English, he said. The mom was on her way to visit a friend when another passenger suddenly shouted to warn her. Someone was zooming in and recording her chest.
Ew.
Quick thinking, she began filming the man herself as other passengers jumped in to help. Footage from the bus showed him being grilled by furious riders. He insisted he deleted the video, but when someone asked him to prove it, he snapped. F off! You're not touching my phone. Who do you think you are? The police? Another passenger tried again, looking to confirm the video was gone, but the man repeated his strange excuse. F off! Who do you think you are? I'm English, he said.
Did he explain that at all?
Never did.
Okay.
Eventually, the bus driver kicked him off the bus. When asked why he thought it was okay to film a breastfeeding woman, the man doubled down once again, claiming he had the right because he's English.
Dude, what?
No one's really sure what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah, I'm not following that.
But that's my new thing.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. I'm English. F off. You're not the cops. If you're going to be the star of a film, especially one with a nude scene, you'd expect to see a script or sign a release. But at a local mall last month, that filming etiquette was forgotten because the guy behind the camera is a pathetic pervert. Police in St. Louis Park are investigating a disturbing case of unauthorized casting involving a man caught secretly recording people as they changed clothes in dressing rooms without their knowledge or consent.
Wow, this is one of the oldest gimmicks in the book, isn't it?
I worked over in that area when I was on the force, asset protection for Target. And I'll tell you what, we got some characters. We definitely got some characters in the Knollwood area.
When I saw what kind of strip mall shopping center it was, I kind of thought, yeah, that sounds about right.
The report came in April 17th from the shops at Knollwood, just off of Highway 7. According to authorities, the man was covertly filming shoppers mid-wardrobe change. On Thursday, police made an arrest, bringing the twisted production to a halt. The suspect was taken into custody but released the following day as investigators worked to file formal charges. Now police are asking anyone who may have been a victim, particularly around that time and location, to contact the St. Louis Park Police Department.
Now, is this the liquor talking, Josh, or I'm trying to remember. Back in your day when you were in asset protection, did you sit and watch people change their clothes in the dressing room to make sure they weren't stealing merchandise?
No.
Okay.
No.
Was that ever?
We weren't allowed to. I mean, that's something that was definitely against policy.
There's no cameras in the dressing rooms.
But wasn't that a thing for a while?
Well, you might monitor the area to see what people are bringing in and coming out with. But, yeah, you're not watching them change or anything.
That never happened?
Well, maybe it did, but it certainly didn't at Target.
Yeah, you made that clear. I'm just wondering, does anybody know? Wasn't that a thing for a while? Weren't there people who would sit and watch folks change in the dressing rooms at department stores?
I don't believe so. That's never happened to me.
You'd see the sign saying...
Like back in the 70s and whatnot.
They'd say the dressing rooms are monitored.
Yeah.
But they just, at least what we meant was, hey, we notice what you're taking in and coming out with, that kind of thing.
I always heard that it was a thing.
Possibly. A 25-year-old...
Can you imagine that job? You just sit looking through a two-way mirror. I think there was an episode of Good Times where Walona had that job.
I remember hearing that as a kid. I don't know if they ever did it. Yeah. But then again, F off, I'm English.
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah, you didn't know I was English.
My mistake, sir. You had stated it once before and I had forgotten.
Yeah, no, I'm English.
That is my fault.
A 25-year-old man, completely naked and caked in mud, was found clinging to the landing gear of a parked commercial jet at an airport in the Philippines. And no one knows why or how he got there. Officials at Manila's International Airport admitted they're still not sure how the man slipped past security, though one theory suggests he may have crawled through some sort of drainage canal.
Oh.
Airport police took the mud-slicked man into custody without a fight. He was brought to a hospital for a medical and psychological evaluation as investigators try to piece together how the bizarre security breach occurred. Just a guy hugging the landing gear there.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
That's a little different. Maybe he's English.
He's got to be.
That's very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
All right, a couple people are texting in saying it was only on an episode of Good Times where Walona was looking through the two-way glass. She got a job at a department store to watch people change clothes in the dressing room to make sure they didn't steal merch. But there are other people saying, yes, back in the day, 60s, 70s, the store used to watch people change. There was an employee on the other side of the mirror. Here's a listener who said it used to be that way at Dayton's back in the day.
That is insane.
Yeah, I thought it was a real thing. And what a friggin' gig. I mean, great and terrible. I bet it was a great gig at times and a terrible gig other times.
Definitely.
Some kind of like a heavy guy with bacon stripes in the back of his underwear or something, but then next thing you know, here comes a hot person. I don't know.
I was going to say, it's kind of like going to the nude beach. It's usually the people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like they say, all right, here's your gig. There's the gentleman's changing room over there. Like, son of a gun! I'm English!
Yeah, I suppose if you're a guy and you get that job, you start in the men's changing room.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
You don't earn that ladies' changing room for years.
Man.
Years.
He played bass for Ozzy Osbourne, Alice in Chains, Slash's Snake Pit,
I know
Black
who it is
Label
already.
Society, and the most hardcore group of his impressive career, Heart. Mike Inez,
That's
59
right.
today. Poison guitarist C.C. DeVille, 63. Ian Astbury of The Cult, also 63.
Well, they could get a band going.
Yeah, the supergroup right there.
That would be a hell of a deal.
Along with the trio of musicians there, two of the most famous directors of all time are celebrating birthdays today as well.
I'm going to try to guess this one, too.
Go ahead.
Martin Scorsese?
Nope.
Steven Spielberg?
No.
All right, go ahead.
He directed Forrest Gump, Back to the Future, the trilogy there.
No idea.
Romancing the Stone, Castaway, The Polar Express, and more.
Robert Zemeckis. Who?
73. Robert Zemeckis.
Zemeckis?
Is 73.
Huh?
And the man responsible for two of the all-time most popular franchises, George Lucas of Star Wars and Indiana Jones fame, is 81 today.
He's entertained you once or twice.
He has.
Yeah.
He definitely has. Happy 61st to Carolina Hurricane Catcher Jesus, streaming 93X in North Carolina, for which we are, of course, very grateful for. Hi to Emma. Happy birthday to T-Bone from your bro Batman Jesus, and happy 18th birthday to Chandler, a.k.a. Chan Man, from Mom, Dad, Nate, and Jen. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
It's not like you can hide him. It's not like you're going to put him in your front yard.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Everybody on their feet here in Cincinnati and a worldwide television audience watching here at Riverfront Stadium. 2-1 pitch from Schaus into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192 for Pete Rose. This certainly his crowning achievement. This is one of the all-time great moments.
I don't
see much sense in putting me on the ballot after I die. Most of the people who rooted for me my whole career would love to see me in the Hall of Fame as a living player, not as someone who's 10 feet under.
Did you know the career record for most hits is 4,256 by Pete Rose, who is not in the Hall of Fame?
Randy Shaver.
Good morning.
So Charlie Hustle's finally been reinstated by Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Pete Rose. The man
doesn't
is
mean
dead.
Doesn't mean he's getting into the Hall of Fame, though.
No, it does not yet, but it makes him eligible.
Makes him eligible, but I think there's still a lot of conversation about whether or not the voters will vote him in.
Is it because he was nuts?
It's just because he bet on baseball.
They're still hanging on to that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it's not a given that he will get in.
Okay.
Based on the fact that he's now eligible, thanks to the ruling yesterday by the baseball commissioner.
Manfred Sinjensen.
Yeah.
The commissioner. Yeah, Pete Rose is dead, in case you hadn't heard. So is the Ultimate Warrior, I'm sorry to tell you.
What?
Most people seem to agree the league waited too long to change its stance on Pete Rose. He wasn't the only dead guy who has been reinstated. A bunch of members of the old 1919 Chicago White Sox betting scandal. They made a movie, Shoeless Joe Jackson. A bunch of those guys.
Only Shoeless Joe Jackson, I think, from that group.
Oh, I thought there was a few more.
Oh, there's others that are eligible. I'm just saying.
Oh, only Shoeless Joe will get in, likely.
He's probably the only one of that group that has a chance to get in, yes.
Well, I'll be damned. Pete Rose is finally eligible, and the poor bastard
It's going to be interesting, right, to see how people vote for Pete Rose.
You really think it's not going to happen? I would imagine it would happen right away.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think it's going to happen right away. I think there's a pretty healthy split among voters as to how they approach and see Pete Rose. And just because he's eligible doesn't mean he's necessarily going to get in.
And baseball,
at least not right away.
Baseball Hall of Fame voters take their votes very seriously and like to make it about themselves and take personal stances about things that players have done in their careers.
That's true. Here's what I think. Yeah, I think Pete Rose should have gone into the Hall already. It was time, I think, many years ago to let it go and recognize how great a player he was. I think Big League Baseball's been afraid to put Pete Rose in the Hall because they were afraid of what he might say in his speech. Because let's be honest, when he was alive, when he opened his yap, you never knew what was going to come out of there. So I think they were afraid what he might say in his speech. They were nervous he'd uncover some things that Big League Baseball would rather the general public didn't know about. I think they were afraid that Pete Rose, out of spite, might even make some things up in his speech just to piss off Major League Baseball.
What if he recorded his speech before he died on the off chance he got in, after he kicked the bucket?
What's that?
What if he recorded his speech, saying, hey, play this if I ever get in one day?
I think they were afraid he'd make some things up about some untouchable baseball person just out of spite.
I really honestly don't think he would have done that. I really
he was a little nuts.
I'm not saying that he wasn't nuts. I'm just saying I just don't think he would do that.
Who's got the cleanest image in the history of baseball? I know the list is not long.
Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
I can picture Pete Rose going up there and saying, you know what, thanks everyone for finally getting me in, but on a side note, Joe Mauer sold me cocaine back in the day. I can see him doing something ridiculous like that just to piss everyone off, so then the general public would go, wait a minute, Joe Mauer was selling guys cocaine? Which, of course, is ridiculous and untrue. I just think they were always afraid of Pete because
of what he might say.
Because he's a loose cannon. He always was. All right. No Brad Ryder today.
Yeah.
Because Josh just found out because he's been put under arrest. We don't know any other details.
We're still waiting to. Yeah. He's going to be arraigned this morning. and we're still waiting to hear the charges.
We don't know the charge.
Cocaine sales to a local former professional.
It is.
We're a little concerned this morning that it could be serious.
The stuff we've heard is very disturbing, but we're waiting until we get official confirmation from police.
Yeah, we want to hear it from Brad.
You have heard, though, narcotics.
Yeah, in some way.
Okay, all right. Hell,
and where he smuggled it might surprise you. But all those details will come out.
Let's stay with baseball here for a couple minutes. I'm excited to tell everyone about the return of Dick Mountain. Dick Mountain is still standing tall. Of course, I'm talking about 45-year-old big league pitcher Rich Hill, who was a Twin for an hour and a half a few years ago. He has upped and signed with his 14th career big league ball club.
Thought of you immediately when I saw the story yesterday, Nick.
I appreciate that. Randy Shaver, do you know what ball club Dick Mountain has signed up to play for?
I don't know.
We might get a chance to see him. He signed with the Royals.
Oh, my.
Yeah, they're going to put him in the...
Doesn't mean he's on the major league roster.
No, but they're going to put him in the minors, and he'll horse around with some 20-year-olds for a while. Then he'll likely get called up because of injury and throw some soft curveballs.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how fast do you think the fastball is now?
Not fast. But I'm a Dick Mountain fan, and I hope he does get his shot in the bigs. If he makes an appearance for the Royals, they would be his 14th official big league team, which would tie the record for most teams played for, which was set by Edwin Jackson during his 17-year career. He was a bullpen guy his whole career, was he not?
I think he made some starts.
Okay, Ed Jackson.
Yeah.
Dick Mountain made his debut in 2005. Not to be confused with Space Mountain. Which is, of course, the nickname that Ric Flair has always used for his penis. Space Mountain. It wasn't even that long ago, Josh. Flair dumped the quote on us again. He said, Space Mountain, it might be the oldest ride at the park. Woo! But it's still got the longest line.
That's such a good line.
When you talk about 14 major league teams, it made me think of LaTroy Hawkins. I looked him up. 13 teams for him.
Name them.
And how long did he play for?
95 to 2015. Twins, Cubs, Giants, Orioles, Rockies, Yankees, Astros, Brewers, Angels, Mets. Oh, Rockies again, so I guess 12 different teams. And then the Blue Jays.
20 years he was in the bigs.
Mm-hmm.
I bet his souvenir room is expensive. You know what I mean? Most guys, most old pros will hang a hat from every team or a jersey. Oh, I bet he's got some wide open spaces in his souvenir room at the house. So as Glenn Perkins predicted on this here radio show yesterday morning, the last night's Twins-Orioles game in Maryland was going to be a problem, and it was. It was rained out. They rescheduled, and today they'll play a traditional doubleheader. The first game is at 11 o'clock this morning, followed by the second game approximately 30 minutes after the first one is over. That's cool.
Yeah.
A traditional doubleheader. I didn't see any pitchers. I apologize.
Bailey Ober's pitching the first game today, and Simeon Woods Richardson's pitching the second game.
Okay. I neglected to look that up.
Anyone here ever been to a doubleheader?
Yeah, I've been to one.
Yep.
Have you?
They did one at the Metrodome for some reason back in like 2002 or 3. They played a doubleheader against the Oakland Athletics. And we were very excited because, you don't get doubleheaders at the Metrodome because there's never any rainouts, So it was kind of a unique thing, and we were very excited. And
so, Josh, are you asking if anyone's ever stayed for both games?
Yeah, anyone here ever gone?
Yeah,
I never went to both games.
I think maybe last year or the year before. I can't remember why there was a doubleheader, some type of rainout, but it was so much fun. It was one of the solo twin games I went to as well.
Solo twin?
Yeah, so I just went by myself.
Oh.
And thankfully, I Ubered there.
Oh, sure. That's a lot of time to drink.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but I had such a blast, and it's great. They lost the first game, too, and usually I would, but I didn't even care because I was like, that's fine. Let's get the second one on the way now.
And I'd imagine they still shut the beer down early in the first game, so it's kind of weird. You got to you had a little time to to sober up, I'd imagine, in between games.
I can't remember if they did. I do remember drinking between the first and second game, like chilling in the Truly deck there, but that might be different.
I wonder how they work the beer sales for a doubleheader. That's a long day.
Oh, it was.
So after game one, you said to a complete stranger, because you were by yourself, it doesn't even matter that they lost the first game.
Exactly.
Said it exactly like that.
They've got a chance to make up for it here in a half hour.
I barely remember the second game. I don't even know if they won.
I love baseball, but I don't know if I could do back-to-back skis.
It was a beautiful day. It was perfect.
How long ago was this?
I think it was either last year or the year before.
So
I can't
the games
recall.
were sped up compared to how it was back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, here's a good question. For double headers, is there an 18 beers and 18 hot dogs in 18 innings challenge?
Oh.
You'd be dead of bloat.
Oh, God.
You would die of bloat if that's a thing.
My daughter thinks she can do that, not with the beer, but with the hot dogs. She thinks she can eat all 9 hot dogs.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
She is a big eater.
And the two of you should schedule this now. I think when you brought it up last time, I thought, have her do it with water first and get a look at her potential before you make it official.
Yeah,
She's so small. That's impressive that she thinks she could eat that many hot dogs.
I don't think she can. That's a lot.
It is.
I bet I could. I'd be miserable. I want to give it a shot. There's no way I could do the beers, though.
Oh, no, you would.
no.
There'd be a lot of puke.
Yeah.
Just watch those for Mountain Dew.
You know how many... you better just be at the game with me, Nick, because you know how many texts and phone calls you'd be getting if I was...
Jesus. You'd just be lusting over me.
Yeah, because you get texts before... Like, as the bartender is preparing the drink, I text you, I'm going to have a drink.
Josh always texts me right before he has a drink, and then usually as he completes both of them. That's about as far as he ever goes, is 2. But if you ever go further than that, you get very complimentary and very amorous with me on the phone.
That's true.
Very flirty. You're very flirty with me.
There's no exaggeration to this at all.
No.
Okay, some information. We're talking about the double headers. Information's coming in about Brad's arrest. Something about a double ender. No further details.
Double ender. Like in public?
No further details have been released, but they were very specific about something called the double ender.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's... all we know now is that he's in police custody.
Right.
Former twin Trevor...
And he's cooperating.
He just wants to get out of the house.
Former twin Trevor... Plouffe? I'm kidding, of course.
Yes.
Trevor Plouffe, he sits in on broadcasts once in a while, like our pal
he does.
Glenn Perkins and LaTroy Hawkins and Justin Morneau. And Trevor Plouffe said that sometime this baseball season, when you turn on the television to watch the Twins, they're going to cut loose with an all-player broadcast. And it's supposed to be, everyone's falling in line with this. It's going to be like a Manning cast. Everyone has to do the Manning cast gimmick. Okay. It sounds like a cute idea, but what I really get a kick out of when reading this story is that Trevor Plouffe is not excited about it and does not think it's going to work at all.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Setting the expectations low. That's what you got to do.
So I guess I'm a little confused. They're going to rotate those guys through, and then they're going to do the play-by-play? I guess
all of them at once.
All of them in the broadcast booth at one time?
Yes, an all-player broadcast. So there'll be no Corey Provis, no lead announcer, just a bunch of old, worn-out jocks with live mics trying to make heads or tails of the baseball game.
But
that's pretty fun.
But why have all of them at one time?
I don't know, because it maybe their hopes is it will come off like NBA on TNT. Every show on planet Earth these days wants to be NBA on TNT. Now, of course, that show has Ernie Johnson, but the all-player thing is hotter than hell right now, so the Twins are going to give it a shot, or Twins TV, or whatever you call it. But Trevor Plouffe says, I don't think it's going to work. I don't like it, but we'll see.
You need someone to kind of, guide everybody through.
And that's what Trevor says. He says, I think play-by-play guys are so important. Their job is very difficult. I don't like the Manning cast. To me, that does not interest me whatsoever. I know that's the bit they're trying to push, but I think you need somebody doing play-by-play. We'll see how it goes. He's excited about it, but he doesn't think it's going to work, and now I got to see it.
I think that's what is going to make it fun, is that they don't have a play-by-play guy helping them out. I wonder if there's going to be just numerous times where there's just dead air. Nobody says anything. Nobody knows what to say.
Dead air if you've got 5 guys sitting there.
The problem is, I think, the problem for some fans is that there's going to be some big moment, but, one of the players is in the middle of a long story about a road trip to Anaheim or something. Because the lead guy captures that excitement with his call, and for purists, that might be their complaint. I'm okay with whatever happens. I'm not a big announcer guy. I don't live and die by who's calling the game. Like a lot of football fans do. My God, they can't get over it if the play-by-play and color commentary aren't perfect in every way.
Right.
I'm cool with whatever. So.
And it's baseball. It's one of 162 games. Have some fun.
It's a little bit different calling a football game than it is a baseball game. So.
Some people are texting in saying that NASCAR does an all-driver broadcast sometimes, and that it's really fun.
Well, there you go.
I love listening to when they talk in the cars, especially when they're yelling at other people. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
When they get pissed off in the car, it can be fun.
I mean, just, sounding like a CB radio or whatever. It's just cool. I really dig that. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing they can talk doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, driving 200 miles an hour and you're having a conversation.
Yeah, just casual.
I know. There's times like in heavy traffic where I have to tell the kid, hey, calm down for a second. I'm trying to concentrate. I can't imagine.
Exactly.
Driving like those guys are.
If I were driving in a NASCAR race, there wouldn't be a lot of talking. There'd be a lot of screaming on my part.
How do I get out of here? Yeah. They're everywhere.
Well, how did I get here? Who are these other guys? An old-timey twin by the name of Rich Rollins has died at 87 years old.
Yeah.
This guy was a third baseman for the Twins from the get-go. Played on their World Series team in 1965, was a hell of a hitter. And I've always heard great things about him as a lifelong Twins fan, and I'm sorry to hear that he has passed.
He was at the Twins fantasy camp when I went to the fantasy camp. I think I just turned 30.
Oh, God!
And so it was a long time ago. And he was one of the main guys, and he was a great guy. And the camp was so much fun. I mean, I'm sure it's the same now as it was back in the day. They just make it all about, the guys or the gals who sign up to play. But yeah, Rich Rollins was a really, really good guy. Yeah.
When you were there, Randy, did you see any old time, like some 50-year-old guy who paid all that money to be there, just horribly tear a hamstring or something?
No, I don't recall anybody getting hurt. I know there's a lot of sore bodies.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're using muscles that you haven't, unless you play, you're using muscles you haven't used in a long time. So, but it was fun. It was great.
I bet it was cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Speaking of terrible injuries, did everyone see what happened to this New York Yankees third baseman by the name of Oswaldo Cabrera?
I was able to successfully pull the audio without looking at the video, so I didn't have to see it.
He broke his foot off while he was awkwardly sliding into home. It was a terrible ankle separate. I don't know if you want to see that. Is that up on our website?
Gave me the chills. No, but I can put it up there. I was iffy about that one.
I mean, he was tagging up on a sac fly, I think, and as he's running towards third, he kind of forgot whether he wanted to slide or just go in standing, and he went in awkwardly, and his right ankle broke off.
Oh, God.
The throw won't be in time. Cabrera able to run past and slip his hand past Raleigh, but he might be in some pain here. And a scary scene here. Tim Lentich immediately asks for the Mariners training staff as well.
All right. Yeah, it was ugly. He'll be all right. Yeah, he plays for the Yankees, so, How heartbroken are we supposed to pretend to be here? I don't. All right. Sorry, I was just making a note for myself here. I didn't want to forget something a little bit later. The Atlanta Braves announced that the first 15,000 fans in attendance of their June 18th game against the New York Mets will receive a limited edition collectible Usher bobblehead doll.
You know, my wife is a major Usher fan. I could see her being interested in this.
When I was reading, 1 of 10.
When I was reading this, I was thinking, I don't know, who's he going to be? David Justice, Tom Glavine, Jim Usher, the singer.
Yeah, that doesn't really do it for me. Maybe when I was in like the 6th grade, but
I thought you'd be an Usher fan, Ashley. You're not?
I was. So yeah,
You know
in middle school, but then I started listening to different music.
Apparently, the Usher bobblehead doll, he's giving the peace sign, and he's on roller skates for some reason.
Yeah, he roller skated at the Super Bowl when he did his performance.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I missed it. Randy, do you like Usher?
I don't really know his music that well.
Usher.
And his the A on his Braves hat is upside down.
I'm seeing a lot of upside down things on clothing these days.
So supposedly that's like a trademark of his of some sort?
Okay.
Oh, I guess I had no idea.
I'm going to have to take
I read one article on it, so I don't know how true that is.
I'll live either way. But when I was watching the Wolves the other night, Dinkus, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, Stephen Curry, was wearing a hat that said Bay Area, but Bay Area was upside down.
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be the new trend.
It's a new thing. I had a vision last night.
Oh, boy.
I had a Timberwolves vision.
Oh, okay. That's so Raven.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Sorry. You know, you won't get it, but I know some people did. That's so Raven.
Dana apparently did.
It was a TV show from when I was a kid, and she would have visions.
Yeah. Right. She and I have that in common.
I guess so.
I haven't thought of that show in 25 years, actually.
Now, I'm telling you the truth. In my vision last night, I saw Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He was making a game-winning three-point basket, and then he raced down the court. He tore off his jersey, and he had tears in his eyes. Will my vision become a reality? I don't know. I'm just saying.
I hope so.
I don't think he's going to need a game-winning shot tonight. I think that game's going to be over.
I had a vision. You ever heard of Pele?
Sure. Great soccer player.
I was in my room here one day watching the Mexican channel on TV. I don't know nothing about Pele. I'm watching what this guy can do with a ball in his feet. Next thing I know, he jumps in the air, flips into a somersault, and kicks the ball in, upside down and backwards. The damn goalie didn't know what the F hit him. And Pele gets excited, and he rips off his jersey. He starts running around the stadium, waving it over his head. Everybody's screaming in Spanish, and I'm here sitting alone in my room, and I start crying. Yeah, that's right, I started crying. Because another human being, a species that I happen to belong to, could kick a ball and lift himself and the rest of us sad-ass human beings up to a better place to be, if only for a minute. So let me tell you, kid, it was pretty damn glorious. What movie? 651-989-9393. Concussion-prone Jesus already got it. Vision Quest. Vision Quest, the wrestling movie. Matthew Modine, he has sex with a woman who's like 35, right under his dad's roof, and he has to wrestle to shoot in the state championship game.
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen the Journey video where he's running across a bridge.
That's right. That was Only the Young.
Mm-hmm. Good tune.
One of my favorite scenes in movie history when the guy's explaining watching Pele on television. So, Randy Shaver, you're saying it ends tonight.
You talking about the Timberwolves?
Of course.
Absolutely. Of course.
Sometime
I think it's super dangerous for the Wolves to somehow allow this thing to get extended.
Oh, it is super dangerous.
To 6 or 7 games. So,
you're not the only one who thinks that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you take care of business tonight. You put a hammer down. It gives you some rest again before the next series begins, because I think OKC is going to put away Denver likely in the next game. I think Denver's run out of gas. So, yeah, I think it's super dangerous if you allow Golden State to win this game tonight.
Golden State's down 3-1 to the Timberwolves, right around 8:30 or 9 o'clock tonight, right here in town. They'll start Game 5 of their best of 7. I want to be very clear about something. Well, first off, for sure, Stephon Curry
is out.
Is not available.
He is out. Yes.
I want to be very clear about something. If somehow, some way, Steph Curry, with his stupid sideways mouth guard, if somehow he comes back and wins this series for his ball club, I will never be the same person again.
No.
I will sink into a very, very dark place, and I'm taking all of you right down there with me.
All right, that's fine.
I just don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
I hope not, Randy Shaver. Get this done now, Timberwell. If you don't, you're not only ruining my life, but the lives of everyone I come in contact with.
And that's on them?
On who?
On the Timberwolves?
Yes, it will be. It absolutely will be. Who the hell else do I blame?
Well, I mean, you could take some responsibility for taking your anger out on other people if you wanted to. I don't know if that's a bizarre situation.
Theory doesn't play in 20 and 25, John.
Well, with most people, but you're better than that.
It doesn't. Thank you for saying that. I don't know if I am. And the Wolves have to win tonight. They have to. Yeah. Because it's a special night. Catfishing Jesus, big Wolves fan, listens to us every day. For whatever reason, whenever I go to a Wolves game, I run into the guy. Catfishing Jesus texted in to say it's Pooh Richardson's 59th birthday today. You don't lose a deciding series game on Pooh Richardson's birthday.
You want to let Pooh down?
Yeah.
Take it easy, Randy.
No.
Take it easy.
No.
All right, like you were saying.
I was there the night Pooh Richardson got drafted.
Yeah.
I was in New York that night.
And you were not excited about it.
I was shocked because that was not the direction that anybody had any conversation about. And Pooh wasn't even there.
Duh.
I was at the Felt Forum in New York City, and he wasn't even there.
Was that Cheetahs or something?
No, he wasn't in New York. He was out in L.A.
Yeah.
He wasn't even invited to the draft. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
So that's it, and that's all for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, they're done. How about that? Great season, gone.
They got to be disappointed and a little shocked. I mean, they won 64 games this year.
Yeah, they were banged up, though.
Yeah, they had injury problems.
They missed guys during the course of this series. I mean, Donovan Mitchell played hurt last night. They just weren't really the same. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but they just weren't really the same team. But you know what? This time of year, everybody's banged up. Everybody's got stuff going on. And you got to give credit to Indiana. They're dang tough, man. And Halliburton had this kind of season where, you know, in the middle of the year, he was not very effective. They were kind of struggling a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of caught fire. And they have been riding him all the way into the playoffs and beyond. And they've got a really good group. I mean, they're pretty tough. They're pretty tough.
From what I've watched of the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs, it's the same impression I got last year. They're just a different team in the playoffs.
They are. And I would say the Knicks are kind of the same way right now.
So far, they look that way.
Yeah, I'd say the Knicks right now are a different team. And that's like I don't remember or don't know the last time the Knicks and Indiana played each other in the conference final.
Oh, God, mid-90s.
It's probably been since then.
Mid to late 90s.
And they used to, that used to be kind of like the matchup.
Well, Reggie Miller was a great
playing.
Rivalry. It was a great rivalry. I love
John Starks, and
I hated the Knicks back then. I hated John Starks specifically. Anthony Mason, God rest his soul. I couldn't stand him. Derek Harper.
Yep.
Patrick Ewing. He was the only guy I could tolerate was Patrick Ewing, but I hated the Knicks. I hated Pat Riley for coaching the Knicks. I always thought, you should be in Los Angeles. I loved the Pacers. I loved Rick Smits and Reggie Miller and Byron Scott and Anthony, what was his big name, Davis? Anyway.
Yep, Anthony
Detlef Schrempf and guys. So anyway, the Cleveland Cavaliers are all done. Indiana eliminated them last night. Tyrese Halliburton scores 31 some odd points. Remember now, he was a player who was voted the most overrated in the play. He was voted the most overrated player in the NBA by NBA players this season.
That's correct. Yep.
And by the way, one more note back to the Timberwolves. A couple people have texted this in. And I don't know if it's true, but it's the brother and sisterhood, so why wouldn't I trust them? They're wonderful people, most of them. There's a couple of pricks, but mostly wonderful people. The brother and sisterhood are texting in and telling us that tonight, for Game 5 at Target Center between the Wolves and Warriors, the halftime entertainment will be, and I'm going to have a hard time trying to get through this, kind of like when I told that Payless
Not the
story.
Red Panda.
It's the Red Panda.
Oh, heck yeah.
I almost worry that puts too much pressure on the players. The Wolves have so much pressure on their back to impress the Red Panda that they might pooch it.
Gosh, she's so cool.
The greatest entertainer of our time. There's two of them. There's Weird Al Yankovic and there's the Red Panda.
Did anybody watch Breaking Point on Netflix?
Never saw it.
It's a pretty funny show. Basically Major League, but it was a series except with basketball. Red Panda was a part of it.
Really?
Yeah, she performed.
Yes. Yeah, I did watch that.
And she was
love
revered.
that.
She was revered, just as she is by you.
If that's the truth that Red Panda is performing tonight, what the hell could go wrong? This is a perfect situation. I've seen her perform many times. The first time I saw her, I wanted to throw $500 of my own hard-earned money out onto the court because I didn't feel like I deserved to be watching it for free.
I've only ever seen videos. I'd love to see her in person.
Oh, you never seen it in person?
No, I've never been to an NBA game, actually.
When I was covering the Wolves, I saw her behind the scenes, back by the locker room. I was too intimidated to even say hello because she's just that special of a person. I don't deserve to be able to say hello to the Red Panda.
Jesus.
She'd agree.
She would definitely agree.
And you get no argument from any of us.
No, yeah.
Yes, she would definitely agree. Yes.
I'm a fan. Remember the scene from Napoleon Dynamite where he can't even look at his prom night suit because it's so incredible? And he even says, I think he looks away from his prom night suit and he says, it's incredible. Right? That's the feeling I get when I see Red Panda. Yeah. I would kill for her. If she said kill, if she just demanded I go out there and kill, I would kill.
Kill, Nick, kill.
Yes, kill for the Red Panda. All right, so Thunder Nugget, Game 5 last night, Oklahoma City, where they lead 3-2.
Yeah.
And then the Knicks and Celtics tonight. What's his nuts? His Achilles is gone. He can't play.
Yeah, Boston's done.
All right. This is never good. Ohio State women's basketball coach, a fella called Kevin McGuff, was arrested last week on a drunken driving charge. Cops found him behind the wheel of his car, just like Peter Griffin likes to do it. He was parked in his front yard.
Cops tend to notice that.
The coach was asked, as part of a DWI exam or whatever they call it, the coach was asked to recite the alphabet from D to R. And the coach said, okay.
Oh, I don't like that.
The coach said, sure. Recite the alphabet.
You don't like that sober.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have to. I'm one of those people where I have to sing the song. Like, it's just...
Everybody ends up singing the song.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
So the coach gets pulled out of his car. There he is. He's parked in his front yard. He's hammered. He gets pulled out of his car, and the cops say, recite the alphabet from D to R. And now, first off, they had to tell him that 3 times. We're looking for D, and you go all the way to R. And the coach said, okay, I got it. D. And that's as far as he could go.
Oh, he was gone.
He could not think of what. That's as far as he got.
Oh, boy.
1 letter in, he gave up. He gave way.
Do they ever make people do it backwards? I've always seen that in movies, and I would never be able to do that.
I don't think I could do that sober.
Yeah.
No, that'd be very difficult.
I don't think so, Ashley. That's impossible for most people. Like I was telling the story somewhat recently about my BWI or near BWI from a number of years ago. And I remember I did have to do some kind of alphabetic trick between F and W or something like that. And then there were some numbers, 26 to 58, but I don't think they do backwards alphabet because you got to be like some kind of a friggin' college graduate to know that.
Especially after having a drink or two.
Yeah.
I'd get a Z.
Everyone would be arrested for DWI if you had to do that.
Right.
Right.
That's right. Winnipeg Jets are in do-or-die mode now. Dallas beat them again last night to take a 3-1 series lead there. Leafs-Panthers tonight, Game 5, a 2-2 series tie there. Edmonton can end the season for the Las Vegas club tonight. So the NFL schedule
comes out today, right?
It comes out tonight. It's one of the most irritating days of the year. Because 3, 4, 5 months ahead of time, you get guys at the bar saying, "Oh, look, in December we go to Cincinnati."
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen there? How the hell do you know it's not till December? The whole team could be dead.
It's baseball season.
All right. The NFL has officially announced its 7-game international schedule for this upcoming season.
Right.
Ooh, the international schedule.
Well, we care about it because the Vikings are a big part of it.
They're playing back-to-back international games, the Vikings
Yes, they are.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
In what folks are calling here an unprecedented decision, the NFL is sending the Vikings. We mentioned this already a couple weeks ago.
Well, you have to understand the Vikings agree to this, too. It's not like the Vikings don't have a say in the conversation.
Oh, they should have they should have disagreed then. The NFL is sending the Vikings to Dublin, Ireland to play the Steelers on September 28th, followed by a short flight to the United Kingdom to play the Cleveland Browns on October 5th. Back-to-back weeks they're playing in these stupid foreign lands.
Those are kind of fun, I guess.
I don't like it.
them because it gives me an excuse to go.
And those are early games on those
get some
Sundays,
breakfast.
too. Right?
I don't like that.
There'll be like 8 a.m. games on those Sundays.
I'm tired of the NFL pushing this on these.
Usually
they don't want to be there. All the Englishmen and the Irishmen are all actors. They're paid actors.
Usually the local bars and restaurants around town have fun with it, though. They've got some cool bits going on.
All right, the all-knowing brother and sisterhood have chimed in on the backwards alphabet when being pulled over for D-Dub.
Oh.
It's a trick because they're looking for people to go, I couldn't even do that sober. So an admission of guilt.
Oh,
That's
snap!
devious.
They would have got me.
That's devious.
F me running sideways.
What, are you supposed to just look at them then and be like, no, I can't do that?
So you're okay with this back-to-back international thing for the Vikings? From what I understand, Vikings fans are piffed.
Well, first of all, they're not giving up any home games.
Oh, they're not? Well, that's usually the deal, right?
These are not home games that they're giving up. They're back-to-back road games. So they're not losing anything in that regard. And I think they'll have an advantage in the second game because they're not traveling back to the U.S. They're going to stay over there. And so there's no getting used to the time change and all that kind of stuff that comes with the kind of travel that they have to do. So, I think the Vikings are just one of those teams that they understand what the mission is by the NFL, and they seem to be a good partner for that. So,
and they have a big following in London, so
they do.
They're almost going to view that as a home game rather than having to play Cleveland in Cleveland.
There's no one in London gives two pumps about the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, you'd be wrong.
Actors and actresses. Well, we missed this. I don't know if this matters to anybody. What day is it today? Wednesday?
Yep.
We could have mentioned this on Monday, and then this happened and that happened. Saints quarterback Derek Carr has upped and retired due to a terrible shoulder injury.
Yep.
And he's only 34 years old. He was planning on playing some more football, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, he was.
So what are they going to do down there?
Well, they drafted a quarterback, and I don't have it in front of me who they picked, but
okay.
I'm sure that they'll figure it out. I saw a video of Derek Carr the day after he announced his retirement. He was doing some work around the house, and I think he playing in the backyard with his kids and was cleaning his golf clubs. So that was kind of like his first day of retirement.
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Texans, Raiders, Saints kind of that's the Derek Carr I'm thinking of, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Well, there you go, Randy Shaver. Anything else going on?
Twins.
Well, we talked about the Twins.
Oh, that's right. We
did a double header.
Sorry.
What the hell's the matter with you?
I have it right in front of me, and I guess I just didn't eliminate it once we talked about it.
How much Culver's did you buy on your Culver's?
I did. I had lunch and dinner. On Monday.
On Monday. Culver's Day of Giving.
Yes, and actually it extends through a couple of weeks for that as well. So
we'll make sure you holler at us when we need to know things.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, Pimp. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and hopefully, I don't know.
I don't think Brad's getting out of jail for at least a couple of days.
It's getting worse.
Maybe he uses one phone call.
They've upped the charges. There was something about indecent exposure somewhere.
We're going to have to be his one phone call tomorrow morning. And
We're going to have to be, yeah.
Because Brad wasn't able to join us. We had heard he was arrested. Thanks, Randy Shaver. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 7:30. We're out of here. We'll be back in a couple minutes here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Give it up for the Dark Angel.
First one.
First.
I can believe it.
NXT double champion. Welcome to King. Lex is king.
I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now if I didn't take the path that I took.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jada Parker. What made you, after the soccer career, go WWE?
The answer I always have to that is like, why not?
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast. Part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
All right, isn't this something? We are so very pleased to have you dialed into this nonsense, the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. We're checking in here at 8:28. So, Airbnb, right? What a deal they've got going. And they've been doing this for years. They'll up and rent you a house for a weekend, right? Are the homeowners watching you on hidden cameras while masturbating? Yeah, probably. But, you know. Now, the latest route they're taking over there at Airbnb headquarters, in case you haven't heard, they want to rent you a celebrity. You pay top dollar, and a big shot athlete, for example, will pity you for a couple hours and act like they're your friend. Interesting, isn't it, Josh?
I wouldn't have expected they'd do something like this. Rent a human being for a while.
So it's like a super version of a Cameo. An example that was used when we read about it earlier was Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He'll play catch with you and probably make a lame reference to his love of ketchup or something. For a couple hours, he'll hang out with you. He wouldn't even make my list. I'm so burned out on that friggin' guy. But anyway, we asked our glorious listening audience, what famous person would you rent and what would you want to do with them? And here are some of the answers. Quite a few people named celebrities like Megan Fox, Britney Spears, Sasha Grey, Jennifer Aniston, and then went on to say, we don't want to know what they'll be doing with them.
We can guess.
We can guess.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned spankings in there. But, okay, some of these are really interesting. What famous... And go ahead, 651-989-9393 if you'd like to text us. and tell us what famous person you'd like to rent and what you'd want to do with them. Here's somebody who just texted in, Josh, wants to rent your carcass, and the two of you are to go dine at Chipotle.
I'm in. And I'll pay that person. I'll buy your lunch, dinner, whatever you want. Just there last night.
One listener.
Dana does the commercials, but whatever.
I offered them to you.
One listener would want to rent out LeBron James and Baby Nuts Luka Doncic. And he says, here's what I'm going to do with them. They're going to stain my deck.
Just put him to work.
While I chirp at them.
It would be kind of funny. I mean, those guys wouldn't need a ladder to start building that thing, I'd imagine.
No.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
How quick would Luka be out of breath if he's putting together a deck in like 100-degree heat?
I hate winter, Jesus said, hands down, Bill Murray. Bill Murray.
He does seem like he's a cool hang.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a pretty decent guy.
Tom Cruise, says a listener. There's been a lot of Tom Cruise bashing on this program lately. I mean, it wasn't us. But I can't remember. Just a few days ago, I don't know why we were talking about. This listener says, I would rent Tom Cruise. I would drive him to Ely and leave him in the woods.
This one cracked me up. HVAC delivery Jesus said he'd like to rent Tara Reid. Get her out from underneath that bridge for a little while.
Get her some air. Sure, some sun.
You predictable bastards.
Now, this particular person has a bit of a death wish. He or she wants to wrestle Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to rent Brock Lesnar, let's do something, different. You want to wrestle the guy? He'll tear your arms off for you.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would give in, or just take it easy on him.
No, I don't think. Now, I've heard this name before, but I'm not terribly familiar. Miranda Lambert, is that a singer?
Country singer. She's a country star.
Offended Millennial Jesus says, I would rent Miranda Lambert. And here's what they would do. I would lay in her lap. She would run her fingers through my hair and sing me to sleep.
That sounds beautiful.
This person wants to rent Morgan Freeman to read him the cooking instructions on frozen pizza. I bet that'd be enthralling. I'd listen to that.
You could just have him narrate your day.
Preheat the oven to 450 degrees.
He would make it beautiful.
He would.
Another guy that's name seems to come up on this program more often than it should, Bradley Cooper. One of our listeners would like to rent Bradley Cooper and then turn my wife loose on him.
Oh, yeah. I'd imagine a lot of wives would like that.
Speaking of running hands through their hair, I would love to rub my hands through Bradley Cooper's hair. He's got a great head of hair.
It looks... I agree he's got a lot of it, but it always looks slightly greasy.
In the Hangover movies, for sure, yeah. I think they're going for that look because he's always sweating and running around, but man, that's good hair.
What's the talk about him? Is he a decent guy? Because he kind of has a face that suggests otherwise.
He has a very punchable face, and I think a lot of people think that because remember that first role I think I saw him in at least was Wedding Crashers, where he played, the biggest douche in the world. But I've heard he's a good dude.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I mean, he gave me a cool guy head nod once. I mean, how awesome is that?
That's pretty cool.
Is
that when you called him Coops?
You called him Coops,
yeah. I hope you regret that.
You had to bring that part up.
One of our listeners would like to rent Robert Downey Jr., but he has to stay in his Tropic Thunder character the entire day.
I don't know if you could do that.
Yeah, no.
not in 2025.
You got to be inside your own home. No cameras.
Does anyone remember the character name?
No.
I wouldn't either, but this listener printed it off for me. Lincoln Osiris.
What do you mean, you people?
Oh, dude. Hands down, a listener has texted in to say we're talking about what celebrity, what big shot, famous person would you rent and what would you like them to do with you? One listener has texted in to say, hands down, Kurt Russell seems like a very cool guy. Go out, get some drinks, and just kick it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Perry Saturn Jesus said he'd rent out Stone Cold Steve Austin and go for a Whataburger, another Whataburger, a Whataburger with cheese, a double Whataburger with cheese, and then go around stunning everyone.
That'd be incredible.
That'd be another one where I would just be too scared and not intimidated is the right word, but I'd just make a fool of myself if I ever got to meet Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Intimidated would be the right word if I were to hang out with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He was in studio 10, 15 years ago, and he was Imposing. Well, that makes it seem like he was a prick. Intimidating. I guess I was trying to come up with another word.
Very nice guy, but still intimidating.
Yeah. One member of our listening audience would like to do cocaine with Woody Harrelson. Does Woody Harrelson have a cocaine problem?
I didn't know that.
I know he smokes a lot of weed.
That's all I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Says a member of our crowd. I haven't had a good bubble bath in about 45 years. I'd like to rent Halle Berry to join me for a bubble bath.
Well, I don't remember last time I had a bubble bath either.
Sadly,
as a little kid.
Oh, really? Wow, that's crazy.
Oh,
I have them all the time.
Maybe when I was 2.
Sadly, I don't. I bet there's going to be something in the rules and conditions that say you can't be sexually weird with anybody.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be in there. But this is hypothetical.
Of course, it's all hypothetical.
I am getting a little scared by some people's replies to this.
One of our female listeners would like to rent someone called Jensen Ackles and do everything to him.
Totally agree.
Is that an actor?
I'd love to hang out with Jensen Ackles.
I can't think of who that is.
Do you watch The Boys? Did you watch Supernatural?
Never saw it. Never saw it.
Oh, is he the bad guy in The Boys?
He's one of, yeah.
Oh, that
Soldier
dude.
Boy, I believe.
Yeah, he's a heartthrob.
Fishing.
And he's funny as heck.
Is he funny?
Yeah, I'd love to hang with that guy.
A day fishing with Kent Herbeck.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be awesome.
That would be really, yeah.
A lot of people are saying Jason Momoa is a big one. He's on the very long hall pass list of my wife.
He wouldn't fit through my front door.
Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
He's a large individual.
He's got some broad shoulders on him.
Bar hopping with Adrian Peterson.
Mud Hauler Jesus would rent Marissa Tomei just to look at, or Keanu Reeves to ride motorcycles with. Yeah, he seems like a cool guy, too.
Yeah, every story I ever hear about Keanu is he's a great guy.
I would love to play Magic the Gathering with Post Malone.
Oh, does he play?
Yeah, he's super into it. He has like some special card, too.
I love that dude just embraces his nerdiness and quirks. And
Henry Cavill, too. I'd love to hang out with Henry Cavill.
100%.
According to this listener, Post Malone plays Magic the Gathering on YouTube. He's very funny, very polite, and he smokes a lot of weed.
I didn't know that. Well, I suppose maybe I did know that.
And a message from I'll Always Walk with Elias Jesus, a celebrity I'd like to meet and rent is Elias, and I'd just like to walk around with him. Tough decision to make.
Anthony Edwards
who you might
or
rent.
Byron Buxton, two of the coolest guys in town. I wouldn't mind hanging out with those guys.
Ooh, yeah. Some of that cool would rub off on us, Josh, and maybe we'd have a shot with some of those foxy ladies out there that have ignored us for years. All right. Feel free, 651-989-9393 if you have any more answers on what big-time celebrity you'd like to rent and what you'd want to do with them. We got some more time here before the show is over. Do you folks know about the Carpet Man?
No.
In New York City, the Carpet Man? I read about him earlier today. There's a Carpet Man in New York City. The original, well, there's actually two of them. The original Carpet Man goes by the name of Kevin Carpet. And this is his gimmick. He kind of rolls himself up into carpeting or a rug, and then he places himself in a high-traffic location somewhere there in New York City, like a bar or a nightclub. He's been doing this since the friggin' 80s. He wraps himself in carpeting or a rug or whatever and allows everyone to walk or stand on him.
What?
Maybe look him up.
Yeah, I saw some stuff on Twitter of this guy. Have you seen like some of the ones where he's moving around? It's so creepy when he's almost looks like he's humping the ground.
See, I think that's the other.
That's the other Carpet
That's
Man.
the other. Yeah.
Copycat Carpet Man.
Because there's
There
the
is.
older guy where folks are standing on him.
Yeah,
and then the other Carpet Man is kind of looks like he's humping the ground.
Kevin, did you catch the last name? Kevin Carpet? I know it will be difficult to remember if I didn't say it twice, but he's Kevin Carpet, and that's his thing. I think in most cases, Kevin Carpet makes it appear that he's just a rolled-up rug. In most cases, he hides his face, everything. He's completely rolled up into the carpeting, so bystanders don't know that they're walking across or standing on a human being. Now, some of you might be thinking that this is some kind of a sex thing, but according to Kevin Carpet, It's not kink. It's art. He says, I'm a living art installation. I'm a performance piece is the route he takes.
It's a sex sign.
100%, Ashley.
Yeah.
Let me know if you've found any pictures of the guy yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. He's weird. I don't like this
Well,
bit.
of course it's weird. He's a grown man who rolls himself.
I know, but it's just extra weird.
Vice put out like a little documentary video on the guy, and it's pretty funny. He's he's got like this red carpet on with just eye holes cut out. Or not, I should say like a rectangle cut out for his eyes. Did you see that
For
one?
him to breathe, yeah.
That's
he looks ridiculous. And I know this is radio, but I'll show you, Nick. He's kind of got this posture, and look.
Like he's shoulders slumped forward. He's a bit ashamed,
Yeah,
maybe?
or something. I don't know if he's trying to hide. I don't know what it is. But.
Okay, so others are calling this public indecency, and they question if it's a violation of consent to trick people into walking on him without their knowledge. I never thought of it that way.
That's a step too far, I think.
Well, I don't know.
Public indecency.
I'm forgetting now. Did you know someone who was a carpet walker, Nick? Or maybe you saw an ad for a carpet walker?
I never knew a carpet walker personally. No. But I know where you're going with this. When I was a kid, maybe an 8th grade kid, I watched something on television about a carpet walker. A professional carpet walker. This is their occupation. And when I'm watching the program, again, this is 40 years ago, there's a massive, of course, roll of carpet on a machine, and it just rolls carpeting out onto a floor, and there's a man wearing tennis shoes walking on the carpet. And all he's doing all day long, maybe this is still a gig, I don't know, is he's looking for imperfections in the carpeting. And if he sees one, he hits a button, the carpet stops rolling, somebody fixes the problem, he hits the go button, and he continues to walk on the carpet. A spool the size of a semi-trailer, rolling and rolling. And I said to myself, as a 14-year-old kid, that's my friggin' future. I thought to myself, that's really a job?
That sounds exhausting.
Well, I mean, when you're 14, that's not what you think.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just thought, my damn, at that age, I was thinking, what am I going to do with my life, you know? I didn't have any skills. I was uninterested in most things. And I remember that was like a beam of light. That's what I should do with my life. How simple is that? You walk on carpeting, you hit a button, you walk some more on carpeting. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but I'll always remember that.
That's crazy to think that's... I wonder if that's a gig anymore. Probably not, right?
I don't know. Now, back to Kevin Carpet, who's been called perverted.
I bet he has.
By the New York Post, because he rolls himself into carpeting and lays on busy streets in New York City in the middle of a busy club. He's been called perverted, even though he just sits there completely still and gets walked on or stood on. There's another carpet character in New York City, the one you saw, Josh. He goes by the name of Giorgio. He's Giorgio the human carpet. So we've got Kevin Carpet. This is Giorgio the human carpet. He's newer to the scene. He embraces the kinky aspect of being a human carpet. He performs at fetish parties and clubs for about $200 a pop. He openly acknowledges that sexual gratification, he openly acknowledges the sexual gratification he derives from being stepped on. And as Josh mentioned, he will kind of thrust himself at you when you stand on Giorgio or the human carpet.
I would feel so awful if I stepped on him.
He cuts holes in the carpeting for his face and his arms. He describes being walked on as erotic.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd feel that way. I guess outside of metaphorically, I've never been walked on. But I don't know if I'd get any sexual gratification out of that.
No. What is it those poor bastards who like to have their ball bags stood on?
Oh, yes, like
stomping or squashing or squishing. Yeah. I'm not sure what category that falls under, but no, it's never been anything. And it's not always the nuts. Some dudes like to lay nude and have a woman just stand on them randomly. You know who I found out recently? And they say it's not sexual. Someone I found out, a famous person that I found out recently, enjoys being stood on, and they've enjoyed this for many, many years. Former WWE star Tony Atlas.
Oh, really?
He says it's not sexual at all.
Like maybe on his back or something. I guess I've had people walk on my back just to help that out. But.
Oh, yeah, some masseuses do that.
Sure, I mean...
Oh, do they really? Like pros? Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't remember what he said he derived from it, but it wasn't just strictly a medical thing. It's something that he enjoyed. Anyway, Giorgio, the human carpet, he says he would like to meet the right person one day. He'd like to settle down one day, but he says it's hard to find a romantic partner who can handle his carpet activity.
Yeah, dude, so stop doing the weird carpet thing.
That's a tough thing to bring up on a date.
This is what makes him happy. This gives him a little cheap thrill.
What if he or she's like a thing for vacuums? They'd be the
Oh,
great news, Nick. Carpet walkers are a thing.
They are still a thing.
Just a couple of years ago, this person said they worked at a flooring warehouse, and it was a college job. They'd cut Berber, and they'd walk on it just like you described.
Just like I described. Now I'm too old for the gig. My legs would give way. But when I was a kid, I thought, what a friggin' gig. We've been talking about renting a celebrity today. If you could rent a big shot, effing famous person, who would it be, and what would you want to do with them? There's just a couple more text messages here from our wonderful listening audience that caught my attention. I'd like to rent Kevin Costner. He has to wear his Robin Hood getup, and then we'd go around to all the Targets and have him arrow the signs.
I love you.
What? That is awesome.
That is the best one so far.
That is really good.
Worn out, ragged ass, broken old Kevin Costner in his stupid Robin Hood outfit from 35, 40 years ago. And you go around to all the, what the hell are you smoking this morning?
Yeah, I want some of that.
That's incredible.
CFH bass player Jesus said that if he could rent a celebrity, I think it would be Anthony Kiedis, so I could drop him off somewhere where they teach you how to sing in tune. Here you go, buddy. Pay attention in class.
Have a good day, son.
You got Anthony Kiedis in the passenger seat. You drive him into a strip mall, and Anthony Kiedis looks at the sign, and it says singing lessons. What the hell am I?
Before he gets out of the car, you hand him a bag lunch and his penis sock and say, all right, come back when you know how to sing.
Speaking of singing, this one caught my eye, too. Maybe I'd want to rent Matthew McConaughey, a listener said. He and I could make up a bunch of weird audience sing-alongs. Another listener said, I'd like to rent out Dennis Rodman because I've always wanted to see North Korea. That was just the weirdest thing ever, wasn't it?
So weird.
Oh, I loved it, though.
Bless the mood. Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
Yes, he does.
I don't remember having that wonderful echo on there.
Well, I added it.
You did that?
You
Make it beautiful.
me. Just because it'll make me feel good. It is time to bless the mood. Are you ready to bless the mood? Are you ready to bless the mood?
So far, no one is.
Are you ready to bless the mood?
Slow God, somebody help him.
After all this,
bless the mood.
even after all this time, it goes nowhere.
I know.
He's still singing right now and trying to get any help.
I felt bad for him, but no, not one person wanted to help him out there.
All right, if you don't mind me going to a text message here again. We got on the conversation earlier on DWI exams. What do they call that in the business, Josh?
The DWI exam?
Oh, like the field
sobriety
roadside test?
Yes, field sobriety test, roadside sobriety. Yes, thank you. That's what I was going for. Somebody texted in and asked, or maybe Josh, you asked, is it just in the movies, or do the cops ever ask you to recite the alphabet backwards? Because that's just, who in God's name can do that? Then a listener texted in and said, sometimes they might ask you that ridiculous question, recite the alphabet backwards, because they're waiting for you to say, well, Christ, I can't even do that sober, right?
Yep.
What a neat trick. I never thought of that. Now, getting away from specific field sobriety type tests and more of, maybe you'd call this a cognitive test. A listener said he got a concussion playing basketball when he was a kid. And when he went to the doctor's office, or the nurse's office at school, I think, the nurse asked him to count backwards from 100 by threes.
Jeez.
What the hell?
That's crazy tough.
What? You got your bell rung for you playing hoops. You're laid out in the nurse's office, and she asked him, according to the story, to count backwards from 100 by threes. That is so odd.
Was she mad at him?
So
I don't know. I don't know.
That would hurt my brain if I didn't have a concussion.
Right, and I guess according to the story, he said to the school nurse, he said, well, Christ, I can't even do that sober.
Ah, dang it. I knew that was coming.
Oh, man. 97, 94, 91. See, that's difficult for me.
88, 85, 81.
This person would like
Not that
to...
hard for Ashley, I guess.
Check out the big brains on it.
Wait, you said 85, then 81.
Oh, 82.
You're under arrest for drinking. How did they say
for
it?
having
have
a concussion.
And you're pregnant, Ashley. Come on.
This person would like to have James Earl Jones read their eulogy after he dies from spending his whole day skinny dipping with Selma Hayek.
Oh, wow.
I'd wear myself out naked with Selma Hayek.
Man.
Oh, God. Well, it's time to get the hell out of here. Ashley's very pregnant today. I've noticed you seem very pregnant today.
Do I?
Yeah, well, you've been kind of handling yourself a lot today.
Yeah, I'm
Is
starting
everything-
to get more sore as the days go on. And I cleaned yesterday. And
the house?
Yeah, I
or your
decided
belly?
to do some deep cleaning in the house.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I'm so sore today.
I just noticed all day long, Josh, have you noticed she's kind of leaned back a few times?
Oh, yeah. She's like one of my uncles after a big meal.
Yeah.
I don't know. You do this. You've been I don't know if you noticed this, but you kind of lean back, you hold your stomach, you're like...
Yeah.
It's so comfy to do that.
So I figured, why horse around? She's extra pregnant today. We might as well pull the plug.
Good morning to Sarah and the rest of the cooking crew at Hill Murray High School for doing an awesome job. From Tony and your friends here at 93X. Happy anniversary to the Crack of Dawn Jesus from In the Crack of Dawn Jesus. A shout out to Jiu-Jitsu Jesus. Best of luck and hoping for nothing but good things to Rod. He's having his first cancer checkup today after some surgery and some treatment.
Oh, nothing's taken down a guy named Rod.
Heck no. Toughest. He's already survived 3 different cancers. So.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Your name is friggin' Rod. You're good.
Happy birthday to Mr. Woodmaster Jesus from Mediocre Machinist Jesus. Happy hump day, everyone, and thank you for listening.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.